they started making noise. So everybody, let's join Jesse Arnold and his buddy Curtis Akerman. Because when indulging in fine geekery, it's always best to bring a friend or two. Shooting the shell. Everybody loves shooting the shell. Shooting the shell. Let's start shooting the shell. You're gonna love it now. Let's start shooting the shell. Just might make you say wow. Let's enjoy some fun conversation. We'll be shooting the shell around the nation. Let's start shooting the shell.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Shooting the Shelf right here on the Just Shelve It channel. It is episode 7 of season 4, also known as episode 137 overall. I'm me. This is Jesse. Over here is Curtis.
This guy.
How's it going tonight, Curtis?
Pretty good. Been a little absent-minded today. Had to make a list for myself and work through some things. Was on the road all week, so got a little bit, kind of off kilter. Had to get back in the swing of things this weekend. So getting there. Still, it's a work in progress.
So I know people talk about, when you're oh no, what's the word? It's losing me.
There's a lot.
I don't know.
Something
Well, you said off kilter.
Yeah.
I never hear anyone say they're on kilter.
I don't even know what kilter means. Just a saying, man. I don't know.
I mean, it's just a men's skirt, right?
I don't know. I don't have those numbers. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have we got a fun show for you guys tonight? It's going to be a lot of fun. Eraser. No, it wasn't Eraser or Beach. Gruntled. It's the whole disgruntled versus gruntled. Like gruntled sounds worse than disgruntled. Yeah. Anyway, we got some folks out in the chat, don't we, Curtis?
Oh, we sure do. I'm surprised they've stuck with us this long. We've got Chris Johnson out there. Maverick is here. Maverick is already telling us how to run the show, so we'll wait and get into that once we have our guest on here, because I'm sure he'll have some choice words for Maverick. We've got Blake out there, aka Recon Rage, JMax77. We got Just Shelve It. That's you. You're in the chat and on screen. Captain Firebeard Baker. Dub3 is in the house. We've got Carver Customs there. He's already singing the MuskeCON song, so that's fun. We got Stacy Lin in the house. That is all 3 Lins. We got Guaisagwe Echevarria. He was talking about coming to MuskeCON, but I don't think he was able to make it. So we'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed that he'll make it. We got Darla Akerman out there. I know her. A little bit more from her later. Matt Stein is out there in the chat. We've got Dennis Boss. We got Who Left Some Warlock. Michael Morales. Who? Mike V. That's him. I am TJ Williams, the H, and most definitely silent. We got Pink Lemonade, Mrs. Echevarria. We got 2 Echevarias, 3 Lins in the house. Let's see, Motu Guru, Patrick Boyle, 1/2 of PB&J, coming to ZoloCon soon. We got Kevin McCoy out there. So we got and Tanya McCoy. So we got 2 McCoys, we got 2 Echevarias, we got 3 Lins. It's crazy. Hedgehog action. Let's see. Scroll. Junkie and Crafts and Builds.
What's up, Mike?
Drunk Gizmo Customs. Thralling FR Glory. Sath is out there, and Kirby. So that is everybody so far.
It wasn't the Mawawawa.
All right. And we've lost Jesse, folks. So without further ado, our guest this week, good friend to us, and also the showrunner of my favorite convention of the year. All right. And that is No Shots Against Any Other Cons. I love Legion's Con as much as the next person, but sometimes Legion's Con, how do I say this? Jeremy schedules every minute of the day to where I don't even know when I'm allowed to pee. So there's not as much kind of freedom to hang out and talk to people because it's like just moving from one thing to another and checking it off your list. Whereas this con that we're going to be talking about tonight is just a really intimate setting. You can hang out with people, get to know them. It's just a lot of fun. It's like
Toylanta.
No, that's not.
Oh.
No, we're going to talk about MuskeCON, the best con of the year, ran by the one and only Pete McCarthy. Pete, how you doing, sir?
I am doing well. Thank you guys for having me, as always.
Absolutely.
Good to have you back.
Yes, it's good to be back. And I will say, I as much as I'm passionate about MuskeCON, I cannot echo your sentiment, Curtis.
Okay.
Because it's just one of those things where I'm working. I miss out on Legion's Con. I get to do those things that you get to do at MuskeCON. And it's just, I'm kind of like trying to check boxes, and I always have a great time, but my focus is always pulled, you know? So
yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, there's always a trade-off to those things. Same thing with like being a vendor versus going in and attending a con as an attendee, like definite trade-offs. But I mean, you do an amazing job. It's a fantastic show. So
I appreciate that. I really do. Man, it would be, I'm curious to see what the show could be if I actually was a good promoter. Well, and like did things in a timely manner and was good at communication. And, you know, if I had a quarter of what Gerard does, I can't even imagine how crazy MuskeCON would be. Why am I
wanted to bring up this comment from a one Maverick out in the chat. He must have hit his 30 days and was able to change his name back to his own name for once. Says we needed to have Jeremy DeWitt on tonight to join with you because he's the marketing director for MuskeCON. So
art director, but yes. So
yeah. So
I mean, we're going to talk about things other than MuskeCON. We're going to talk about Glyos. Like, I mean, what's Jeremy going to bring to these conversations?
That's true. Jeremy does.
I'm kidding. We love you, Jeremy.
No, Jeremy.
Does he know about
Jeremy? Jeremy has been one of those guys. He's the dude's just absolutely amazing, and everything that I ask him to do, he just knocks out of the park. He has offered to do a lot more than he actually does, and I am struggling with relinquishing control. And it's a delegation thing, and it comes from my day-to-day. Like, I'm very particular on how I like certain things done, and I'm very particular that if something is going to go bad, it's going to be my fault and not someone else's. And it's a terrible habit that I've picked up in my day job. And as I've been fortunate enough to climb the ladder there have been numerous things.
Climbing the ladder.
Well, not anymore. I don't. I have people for that. But that was a big change for me, because there was things that I did, things that I kind of grew and created and did within my fire service job that I ultimately had to give up because I couldn't do it anymore with my newfound responsibilities. And I struggled just as much with that as I am with MuskeCON. MuskeCON is too big for just me. And it has been too big for just me for quite a few years. And I keep telling everybody that it's too big for me. And I keep telling everybody what I'm going to do. But just like when the wife says, I'm going to make sweet love to you tonight, it doesn't happen. So, you know,
I totally get what you're saying. We were actually, Jesse had one of his old friends from college on a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about Jesse's experience with certain conventions and kind of, you know, really having a rough time at the very end because he's just driven himself to the absolute max. and people see him like struggling. They see him like trying to do the setup and the teardown and needing help. But when they ask him what they can help with, that stresses him out even more, because for him to tell them what he needs them to do is more work than for him to just do it. And so he just like, he knows he needs help, but he can't ask for help. And if anybody does ask for help, that just makes him angry. So I see that with Jesse, and I see the same thing with you when it comes to this con. And, you know, I get it. It's hard to, you know, I don't know if I would say relinquish control even, but it's just to accept help, you know?
Yeah. And it's it should be an easy transition. I'm used to moving the pieces around the board, right? I'm used to organizing in those things. And for whatever reason, I can't break that wall when it comes to the planning process for MuskeCON. And I'm going to get there because, I mean, this year has only proven it again that I've got to get bigger, and I need to get the space that I used to have for MuskeCON on top of the space I now have for MuskeCON. And then I need to fill that entire hallway between the two, and I have to go above and beyond when it comes to signage, to let everybody know where everything is and have more people in shirts being able to direct and answer questions. And it's, again, it's growing beyond what the quality of the product is going to suffer if I can't remove my head from my sphincter for MuskeCON 8. So,
well, it's interesting that you say that you need to get bigger, because last time we saw you, you were about half the man you used to be.
Dude, this has been such a crazy, wild experience. And okay, so I gotta come clean.
Yeah.
So, you ever had one of those white lies that snowballs on you? So I had a doctor's appointment on Friday, and I was just running late, and so I called the doctor's office and I said, "Hey, somebody slid off the road," and I stopped to make sure they were okay. Everything's fine, but I'm running a little bit behind, so I'm going to be a little bit late. Hey, no problem, Pete. We'll see you in a few. Cool. Little white lie, doesn't hurt anybody. You know what I mean? And I get down there, and the woman at the desk says, "Oh, good, you made it. That was so sweet of you to stop and help that old man." Yeah, thanks. And then the girl comes back to get me, and the whole time we're walking back, she's talking about how great I am for stopping and helping the person. The doctor comes in, and the first thing he says to me is, "Hey, I understand you were late. Had to be a hero this morning. Good for you, man." Yeah. As I'm walking out, the woman at the checkout desk stops me, even though I don't even need to see her because I don't need to make a new appointment. Stops me just to tell me that she's so grateful that there's people like me in the world that are stopping. And I walked out to my truck like, oh my God. So, but no, so I did. I went to the doctor, and my A1C is the best it's been ever. I mean, I guess since it's been a problem. And yeah, I'm down 87 pounds, put a few back on at Christmas time. And but the ego, man, my ego has gotten out of control. Everybody's like, "Oh man, you look great." Like everywhere I go, it's compliment city. And my head's getting bigger. And I think maybe that's where the weight gain came from. But no, it's been awesome. And I feel better, and I'm more active. And I taught at the fire academy yesterday, and I've taught search and rescue and firefighter survival 12 out of the last 14 years. And yesterday was the first day that we weren't 2 hours into class and I wasn't completely in pain. You know, standing in my turnout gear and crawling on the floor with these firefighters and demonstrating and whatnot. Yesterday was one of the biggest times where I really realized how much better physically I feel not having that extra weight. So it's been a really cool journey. And yeah, it just goes to show you that if you just blatantly disregard what the professionals tell you to do, somebody will eventually give you something that's a miracle and just make it happen.
Gotcha.
Hey, Pete, man, your A1C is bad. You gotta start exercising. No. Hey, Pete, we really need to start eating better. We got to try to get this weight under control. No, I'm good. Hey, Pete, what if we start? No, I don't want to do that. Hey, here's a shot. Bing, down 100 pounds. It's the most American weight loss story ever. I just ignored the doctor long enough where they finally were like, damn it, we got to do something. So it's been good.
Yeah, well, I think I speak, on behalf of all of your firefighters that, now that you're down this weight, can we finally get a fucking fire pole in the station? I mean, come on. Like, what's
So
going on? How do you have
so
a station and no fire pole?
it's well, so first and foremost, well, it's a twofold issue. One is it's physics. If you don't have a second story, you don't have any place to slide from. So that's the first problem.
Basement.
No, so well, no, because if you put a basement in, they require an elevator. And I don't know if you've ever priced out an elevator, but they're not cheap. But no, the real reason that we don't do it, because that would have been a dream. I just built a brand new in 2021, we moved into a brand new 13,000 square foot facility that I was fortunate enough to be in the design phase for. And I just became the chief when we started building. And insurance companies will not allow it.
No.
They're sick and tired of
ones.
Well, we have those.
Hey, as long as you got one of those, then you're good.
The insurance companies basically are like, hey, you guys are already like getting hurt inside burning buildings. Like, we can't keep paying for fractured ankles because you came down the pole wrong. So
well, we've got plenty of other stuff to talk to, but we've already skipped shelf selections long enough. We need to get into this. So for anybody just joining us, this is where Jesse and I pulled up some pictures that inspired us through the week. So we're going to pull these up and talk about them and go from there. So first one is one that I picked out. This is MK Ultra Customs. Different take on a demon with this kind of half black, half white with a, looks kind of like a blood armor, armor on this thing. I thought this was just really cool. So I liked the difference on this. Jesse?
Yeah, this one's really cool. I saw this the other day as well. I forget the name they had on it. It was like the Dichotomistros or something like that. And I thought the name play was fun. I really like the two-tone colors and everything. It's I kind of feel like it's like, you remember in the 80s, it was especially the 80s when I remember seeing when people would do like those dance numbers on what was that Star Search or whatever, where they'd be like one side painted up like a guy, the other side painted up like a girl, and they'd be pretend like they were dancing with themselves. But like in a creepy, evil way.
We got a message from one Mr. Jeremy DeWitt. What's up, P faces? Just stay tuned, Jeremy. We're going to talk about a little toy line we like to call Glyos. Maybe you've heard of it. All right, Pete, any thoughts on this one?
I think it's super cool. And I'm a big fan of contradictory. That's not the right word. Contradiction. I guess maybe that's the right way to say it. And it actually stems back to getting my first tattoo. My tattoo artist had a series of contradictory tattoos, a horseshoe with a black cat coming through it, and kind of things that are both dark and light in the battle between good and evil. I built a D&D character around a set of dice that I bought. All of the even faces are black, all of the odd faces are white. And part of the whole stick is he's either good or evil based on the roll of the dice. So I come up with what I'm going to do, whether it's good or bad, roll the dice, and then that's the part of the personality. So this one speaks to me in a big way, just because I really dig that concept of, again, kind of the good versus evil.
Nice. When is Steven going to copy that tattoo?
It's not my tattoo. It wasn't my tattoo. It was a tattoo he had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. I just thought he copied any tattoos.
Friggin' Steven.
This one is from Jesse.
So this is I know it's a video game character, something Horizon Dawn something. I don't know who the character is, but I think this is a cool looking figure. And this is Agent Variant on Instagram. Just getting the figure like in the pose in the snow with the background. I just think it's a really, getting like a dynamic snow shot is really, I imagine, difficult without like with individual figures. Like we know Jesse Fieries, and we've seen him do some really cool stuff with like the Star Wars ships and things, but seeing this figure, it just feels really epic. And I kind of want to watch the movie that this scene is coming from.
Yeah. So when you sent me your group of pictures, this was the first one. Like this was like, so there's a, it sends it in Facebook Messenger with a pile of pictures, and this was the top one. And I literally, like, I opened up my Messenger and I went, holy shit. like that is freaking cool. Like, first of all, I love the snow stuff we've kind of talked about. Like, as a kid, whenever you had those little moments of having snow, like running out there with your toys and playing out in the snow. But then this pose is just phenomenal. Like, I can just, like you said, if this was a movie or something, I can see this like in the trailer that they're playing for the movie to try to get you to go out and spend money. And yeah, I'd be all in. So are you raised in a place that you don't get snow very much? I typically in Missouri, we would get it maybe like 2-3 weeks a year. So
oh wow, okay. You mentioned that and I was like, really? Okay. We had an entire week of snow days 2 weeks ago. So
we had a couple years as a kid where like there was no snow at all, and it was just like so like even a little dusting would go out, and it would be like grab all your white snow toys and stuff and head out.
I don't know, so I look at this and I don't immediately know anything about the figure, whether it's a custom figure or whether it's just I don't know if this is a toy painter customizer or if this is a photographer. The photography alone is absolutely amazing. So if this person is also a toy customizer and customized this figure, well, then good on them, because that's amazing too. But I looked at this as, wow, this is just somebody that knows what the hell they're doing with a camera. So I think it's super cool. And like you said, it's right out of the trailer. It's, that comes across, it's, you hear the voiceover, and then it's like the actress's name, and then you see her jump across. You're like, I'm going to go see this.
Yeah.
Because ultimately she's going to be making out with some smoking hot guy too. And you're like, okay, I'm in, let's go.
Yeah. And the other thing, folks, when Jesse sent me this, I realized I was not following this account. And so I immediately gave it a follow, because that's what you do to make your Instagram cooler, is when you see these folks on here, you go to your Instagram and you go, boop, follow.
I would like to point out, Curtis, that I was following this one when I grabbed the shot.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it says following.
Right. I don't know if I was beforehand, but I was when I saw this shot.
Yeah, I mean, I
made sure I was following before I took it. So
that's good. So I wouldn't give you crap.
You could be proud of me. Well, no, so you could be proud of me.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I was going to say, I'll find something else.
That's all I wanted. That's all I've ever wanted, was you to be proud of me.
I just want someone any bit older than me to be proud of me.
Next one is our good friend, Matt Stein, 13Z Customs. Just did a killer job on this Dwargar dwarf. I love the armor. I love the way that he did the face with that scar and everything. And he's just like, those eyes are just like peering right through you. Just an amazing job. Listen, I did one of the how did they do that segments with Matt. And I told him during that, like, he's got this whole, Patina Prince moniker. And I personally don't like that, because I feel like that puts him in this box of that's what he does. And he is so freaking good. Like, he can literally do anything. And this is just amazing. Like, he just kills it. One thing that I really love, the thing that I think he does the best, is glow effects, glow eyes. It looks like it's lit up. But this figure here is just fantastic. Did a great job. And yeah, I would love to have this in my collection, just FYI. Jesse.
I don't know what else I can say. I mean, you kind of said all the things, but yeah, no, Matt's just a cool dude and makes really cool customs. I think one thing, I feel like I've painted those pauldrons before. I don't think I used them on a dwarf. So seeing it with that dwarf head just makes that kind of bigger, chunky, stockier look to the dwarf.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really cool. I mean, of course, like his paint job and everything is phenomenal on it. Again, he does stuff. It looks like can come right out of, like creature effects for a movie and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, and the rivets on it, on the pauldrons, match the rivets on the shield and on the torso, to where it feels like this was all came together, like from factory, but it's not. Like, those are 3D printed, pauldrons, but the way that he's painted it, the way that he's kind of put these shapes together and stuff, makes it feel like a whole completed piece. So, yeah, Pete, anything on this one?
I don't. I hate gold. I don't
Ooh.
like anything gold, and I've talked about that on more than one occasion. This is beautiful. It's used in a way that it almost accentuates the silver and black and the way it pops. I think it was brilliant color choices, and it made an anti-gold guy a fan. And it also makes me want to know the backstory of this character,
Mhm.
because I want to know what kind of dwarf, and I want to know about the familiar ancestors and the D&D past. Why is his skin gray? You know what I mean? Like I want to know more about this character, and it's beautifully done.
Absolutely. Next, Jesse.
So this is was that Wesley K 1701 on Instagram. This is the beasts of the Mesos. No, wait, which one is this? I don't remember. It's the beasts of the Mesozoic people. Creative Beast Studios. They're Smilodon. This is a really fun figure, and seeing it. You know, you probably hear this every week, folks, but we love the shots outside, and whether this is just a little bit of like a terrain build or if this is actual like mossy log or rock somewhere. I think this just looks really cool, and I like that he picked the more calm face and not the growling face. That just it gives it a little bit more personality, like it's a nature documentary or something. It's really cool.
I had to pull up the comment from Maverick just to see if I could see Pete's eyes roll in the back of his head, which they did.
Of course, Maverick knows why the dwarf skin is gray. Of course he does.
Pete, any thoughts on this one?
It's cool. And again, this to me feels like a photographer and not a toy customizer. The way the light, I don't understand it. I took 2 years of college photography, and I don't get what these guys do. I don't understand it. And it's just, now granted, I'm old enough where I was shooting 35 millimeter, but I'm just always amazed at how they can break these out of their plastic prisons and make them do these kinds of things. I'm always just amazed by it. The art, I don't think the photographers get the artistic love that they deserve a lot of the time. Well, they're just taking a picture of. No, they're not, and I think they're a little bit underappreciated, but it's cool that you guys make sure that they get a shout out here, because this is super cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's, we get a lot of different photography, and there's something to be said for all the different kinds. Like if you're setting up in a studio and you're putting these dio pieces and you're creating all this, crazy lighting and stuff and taking a shot, there's definitely some difficulty to that. But then just as equally, if you're going outdoors, trying to find that spot where the light's coming in the right way and the background looks the way that you want it to, and the angle, like getting an outdoor shot is, in my opinion, just as difficult. It's just a different set of, difficulty. But I love this. I think who knows, like you waited 5-10 minutes more, maybe that the sun is at a little bit different spot and you've got this glare and it doesn't work right. Like it's just like timed to perfection. Love this. So.
Well, we get, and I kind of a great example. Quite a few years ago, we got dispatched to an ice rescue.
Mm-hmm.
A guy had gone through the ice. So where we live along the shores of Lake Michigan, obviously Lake Michigan doesn't freeze, but we get ice along the shore, and it's these big, craggy, jagged, like it's terrifying is what it is. Like it looks super cool, but it's dangerous as hell.
Mm-hmm.
We get dispatched, we get out there, we end up finding this guy. He had gone out. Another person called it in because he never came back out. No, he was laying inside one of these craters with his camera, and he just needed to wait about 40 minutes for the sun to be exactly where he wanted it so he could get this awesome ice shot. And we had a good laugh about it, and he felt terrible because, I mean, there's 6 fire trucks and there's 7 people in ice rescue suits and we're roped off and all this stuff, and he felt terrible, but he's like, no, he goes, sometimes you got to wait for the perfect shot. And he goes, when you're using natural light, he goes, you're on their schedule, not on your own. And we, like I said, we got a good chuckle out of it. And he emailed me I gave him my card. He emailed me the pictures that he took. They were beautiful. But I always remember that when I see these photography things of like what these people do to get to capture that moment, you know. And so, like I said, the sun coming through those trees really reminded me of that.
Yeah, and I wonder if he had this shot, like this place picked out already, or if this is something that he came across. I know, you know, a couple friends of the show, Kevin M. Boots and Captain Firebeard Baker, like a lot of times they will just travel with figures with them. I know you've got a group, you know, Pocket Glyos, right? And it's just all about like taking your toys with you and having fun. And those guys will go like on hikes, and then they'll find this spot and they'll go, wow, this is perfect. Like this would be amazing for it. And then they just set up and do it. And I just think that's so neat, you know, kind of it's just a way to explore this world that we're in and find these cool places and look at it from a toy photographer perspective.
The first time I met Kevin, he handed me 4x6 prints that he had done up of toy photography.
Yeah.
And I literally have them right on my shelf.
That's awesome.
So that was my introduction to him. Hey, by the way, I got these prints. Oh, these are awesome. You know, and we've, like I said, now we're friends and we've talked every single time we've seen each other. And so
that's cool. Next one is one of my picks. This is a John.Caulfield.7. Forget about those first 6. Those guys, complete hacks. I've checked out their Instagrams. It's not worth it. But this guy, John Caulfield 7, does some amazing stuff. He's also on a little podcast, Euro Legions. Maybe you've heard of him. They've got a really good Patreon. He did this piece, and man, this is just, it's wild and kooky and fun, and I just love it. I think it's really cool. So you got that double neck custom piece. At first I thought this was you know, from the Bluelith thing, and then I looked at it closer. I was like, no, I think it's like might be a Mark Calvo or something that he got this from. But yeah, those 2 alien heads are wacky, and the whole color scheme is great. I love the mix of kind of like the peach and the pinks and all of it coming together. This is just really cool. I love it.
This is one where I need to know the personality of this character. Because I'm looking at this and like I don't know which eyes to look at. I don't know if he's, you know, friend or foe, if he's threatening, unhinged, you know, like encountering this guy, you know, in a setting would be very off-putting if you make the wrong choice and it sets him off, or I don't know, because 2-headed characters usually have that kind of like weird, you know, can't get along, but then when they do agree, it's really bad for whoever's in front of them. So I just think this is, and it's a great paint job, great colors, and those are some really fun heads.
Pete, Europeans are weird, man. And this is straight up John Caulfield, man. It's super fun, but it would almost be more fun to hear the backstory of this character, only to find out that it's truly just an absolute evil piece of shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, it's so friendly and cuddly and lovable, and it's got fun colors, and they're smiling. No, they're smiling because they eat you. And so
yeah, Misa kind of thinks this is going to talk a certain way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, next one is one of Jesse's.
So this is from I apologize to our faithful viewers, or if you're listening, I mean, you can't see it anyway, but this is Jackie Yeager, right?
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know who did the custom. I did not read the text.
From Action Figure Dude on Instagram.
Okay. So Action Figure Dude did a great job of this, but this is Jackie's photo. She's a lot of fun, and she posts a lot of the female figures. I just like that they made they made a
she's thick
orc.
She's thick, man.
Yeah. It's cool. Like, you know, and it's all skin. Like they're not hiding nothing. I just think it's fun. She looks like a badass. I keep thinking it's a mythic figure, and then I see the rifle and I'm like, no, this is cosmic. And yeah, I think it's just a great paint job, great custom. And I really like the photo out, you know, in the woods, with that light dusting of snow Curtis was talking about. You know, it's got a really cool vibe to it. And again, I want to know what's going on in this story.
I'm gonna go to Pete next. Pete.
So I'm in the Space Tavern, and this is who I'm sliding an ale to, because I'm telling you, they're built like that. That's you got some good times ahead. She's going to be a little bit more appreciative of that attention, and it's going to be worth it. So and that's where I'll leave that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not on my show.
So I saw this in the Cabal, right? And I was taking a look at this, and I gotta say, I didn't know how to feel about this. It was kind of hitting me in the, hey, this is cool, and then it's like, hey, this is kind of strange, and then it's like, but this is cool, but it's kind of strange, and yeah, I don't know. I think I like this a lot. I think that it's different. It's not something I expected to see. You know, a lot of times if we see sometimes the third party people, printers, or even like people that sculpt with clay, if they're doing like a heavier set figure, they do this like fully round kind of body, right? And this has got some like layers to it, right? It's got some realism. I don't know, man. I think I really like this, and I don't know why, but I do. So yeah, a cool custom, and yeah, Jackie. I mean, I think she had a couple of these that she showed. But yeah, this looks cool. I like it.
It's always more fun driving them curvy back roads than it is the highway.
Yeah,
it's just.
I'll say one more thing, because you know, Kurt, you said you weren't sure how to feel about it. Like this one, you know, I prefer this sort of sculpting, or you know, doing different body types than there are pages I've followed, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but when I see it, when guys just like take like a She-Hulk figure and then just like put like, you know, 90s peak Pam Anderson, like sculpt chest on it. Like why, like that looks so disproportionate to the figure that the figure looks like garbage, and they're usually sculpted really badly.
Well, another just side note. Sorry, I meant to throw this out here, but like I'm not a big fan of, with whether it's mythic, cosmic, whatever. I'm not a big fan of non-functional armor, right? Like typically, if you're going into battle, you're not going to leave all of this stuff exposed, right? So like right. I don't like these figures that have just kind of like the armored bra, but then everything else is like it just doesn't. It doesn't sit right with me, because it doesn't feel like something that anybody would actually wear. But with this and this whole build and the custom nature of it, like I'm like, okay, I kind of like this. I don't, yeah.
So a little thick female orc going into battle should have more armor. That's where the line gets drawn. Is it's the appropriate armor. It's not the fact that it's a thick female orc going into battle.
No, it's the amount. Yeah, it's the amount of armor. Like I can't remember what is it, Cassia? That and
what about
there's a couple of them that I'm like, I just don't like them. They're just like these skinny gals with these armored bras that it doesn't work. But for me, for some reason, this works, because it's like when I go outside wearing shorts and it's, negative 10 degrees out, right? But I've got built-in insulation, so I ain't so worried about it. I ain't so worried about the cold. You know what I'm saying? That's what this gal's got going on. Like, she ain't so worried about, a few stray arrows or whatever.
It is cosmic and sci-fi, so maybe she's not just an orc. Maybe she's got something where she's got like denser skin and doesn't need all the extra armor.
Yeah.
So if this figure popped up on my show, I'd like to go ahead and share the comments from my fellow hosts. The first comment would be from Steven, and it would be, "You mean to tell me that her shoulder doesn't immediately dislocate as soon as she fires that weapon?" And then Jeremy would be like, "She probably would win prettiest butthole of the universe." And then Travis would be like, "How you doing?" And then I would quickly point out, to wrap up the conversation, that if she takes off that belt, you're very quickly going to find out that fur is not attached to the belt. So,
see, I thought
bringing a little bit of my wife is going to kill me to shoot in the shelf tonight.
I think Steven would talk something about the birthing hips, but
If you're having orcish babies, you got to have them.
Yeah.
I told you,
There
Jeremy.
you go.
I pointed the screen like I'm pointing out Jeremy's comment as if I'm not on the camera, idiot. So-
This was a late entry that was sent to me, but I had already had it saved. I was going to pull it up next week because I'd already done my shelf selections for today. But then this person sent it to me directly, and I was like, well, I better throw it in there. This is from our good friend Brian Lynn over at Carver Customs. This is an excellent shot that he did with a diode that he's been working on, that he did a fantastic job of. And he did this like grate at the top of the diode so that when the light comes in, it hits in a certain way that just looks like this thing has actually been sitting in a cell so long that it just deteriorated to nothing, and it just looks pitiful, and I love it. So
I some of my guilty pleasure movies are Pitch Perfect 1 and 2. And I absolutely enjoy them. And there is a scene where the main character produces a song, and they play it for a famous producer played by Key from Key and Peele, whom I love. And he goes, I don't like it. I don't like it. And it's I don't like it when people can do what I can do. It's threatening. And I see a picture like this, and I just envision 1.6 shooter going, I just don't like it. I don't like it when people can do what I can do.
Yeah.
This shot is so freaking brilliant with the light in that grate. I just absolutely killer, Brian.
Yeah, I could see Trevor jumping in the chat and saying, "Stay in your lane, Lantern Boy." Jesse, thoughts on this one?
I agree with everything you guys say. So the only thing I can bring to this at this point is a joke. But it's not too. But like as soon as I hear it, I start hearing sounds of silence. But like the what is it? The Disturbed cover.
David Draymond.
Like, yeah. I hear that cover of, when I see this. So like, it's not a playful fun song, but yeah, this just feels intense. That is not my basement. You take that right back.
This Corn Boy? Holy shit.
I saw that picture, and I immediately wanted to caption it with me waiting for my wife to get ready to leave the house.
Nice. Brian says this teaser is for the diode that will be available at MuskeCON. So there you go.
Yeah, it is.
Diode, and you want to do awesome photos like this, head to MuskeCON. So next is from Jesse.
So this is I'm waiting for it to pop up on my other screen because I can't read it, because even though I've changed my screen settings, the screen on StreamYard is still tiny. This is Toy Immersion on
Hold on,
Instagram.
I gotta go back for a second because Joe said this is him waiting for the Mythic Legions video game. Sorry, Jesse, that was too good. I couldn't.
No, that's
me
fine.
Waiting for my Necronominous shipping notice.
It's been 9 years since I ordered that way.
And then Dorklayer is going to jump in and go, well, actually, he's going to go full Mav and go, well, actually.
Yeah.
I placed an order on Friday. Why hasn't that's me, Saturday morning waiting for my shipping notification for a Friday order. Yes, this is Toy Immersion. I think that's like the Mezco. I don't remember his name. But I love that the Greys from Cosmic Legions are like dragging him off to their spaceship. It just has this kind of like reverse creepy ET vibe. Yeah, it's just I just thought it was really cool, very moody, very atmospheric, and it made those figures who are normally like in the cosmic story, like they're more heroic leaning good characters. It makes them feel super creepy in this shot, I think.
Okay, Pete.
Especially because they already abducted his child, which is why they have its stuffed animal.
Didn't even catch that, but
yeah, this thing gets real dark the more you look at it. Because this guy was just trying to rescue his kid, man, and they got him too.
Yeah,
there's gonna be immersion.
Yeah, there's gonna be some probing. So be ready. It's a cool shot. I love how they even like where his boots have gone. Like they drug him through like those like leaves and rocks and stuff. You can see like his feet dragging on the ground. The trees in the background, the lighting with that spaceship. I'm not sure if that's a LCD monitor, if that's some sort of, you know, piece that they had, dial piece or whatever, but that spaceship looks fantastic too. And just the overall lighting and fog. This is just a really cool picture. I like it. Next, this is one of my picks. This is Greg Cook Photography. And I saw this in the Cabal at first, and then I asked him if he had an Instagram, you know, for his custom work and stuff. And he said, you know, he kind of uses it for everything, but he does put his customs and stuff on here. So, but man, I just thought this was fantastic. He said this is the first time that he had tried painting a dragon head. And it looks like it's probably about his millionth time painting a dragon head, because this is just awesome. The eye is so striking on this. The way that he did that eye, and then there's the scales and the, you know, the bone parts. This just is awesome. I absolutely love this. So, Jesse.
When I saw that, I had to reread it. He's like, "This is my first time painting." Blah blah. I'm like, "All right, that's a very specific, because there's no way this is the first time he painted something." And then I realized, you know, I had to like take it and process it, you know, and think critically about what I was reading, because I was like, "All right, if this is his first time painting a head and that's what comes out," I was like, "I'm done." But no, this is a fantastic. Just the way he got into the detail with like whatever wash, and like you said, the eye, it's got that nice, you know, like glimmer to it, and the horns and everything. I mean, this looks like something you would see on like a miniature for like a movie prop for stop motion or something. Like, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, if this was just the head, if you didn't have his hand and all the background and all this stuff in there, you just saw this head, like, I would think that this is a movie piece, like a big giant, you know, massive, like, you know, something that's, or maybe like on a theme park ride or something. Like, it just, I don't know, just awesome. But Pete, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is my first time painting a dragon head. That's about as believable as me helping that old man in the ditch on Friday, which is why I was late to the doctor. No,
Okay.
this is one of those. This is one of those you know, when you don't scroll past this, man. I saw it live and I went, wow, you know, and took a second to take another look at it, and it's absolutely incredible. There's nothing else that can be said about it. That's just, it's art. It's absolutely art.
Absolutely. Next one is one of Jesse's.
So this is what is that? Insightful. No, wait, what does that say? I can't read it yet. Six midnight _creation 6. Which I believe is Judas from the Cabal, I think.
Oh, nice.
But this is the Skeleton Legion Builder 2 with like a sad pumpkin head with some horns on it. I can't remember where he said that came from, but go follow the page and you'll see it. I just thought this was a fun, you know, it's you know, he's kind of got this like solemn pose going on, like he's a knight, you know, accepting a mission, or, you know, he's visiting a fallen friend or something. But there's something kind of like 80s fantasy about it, like in the coloring and the trees and the little temple or building shrine in the background. I don't know, it just was a lot of fun.
Feels very Tim Burton, the way the whole thing is set up.
Exactly. I was thinking Nightmare Before Christmas meets Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I can see that. It's a really cool setup and shot, and just the emotion in the you know, the whole pose and the facial expression and stuff. Yeah, great job. And I will have to check that one, because I don't know if that's one that I'm following. So and in the meantime, this is Jesse had one more. You had more picks than me this week. I think that might be the first time ever. So
yeah, I was like, hey, we can do more. And Curtis was always wanting to do more. So I was like, I have another one. I'm not letting this one fly by. This is our buddy Ryan, Toy Goof and Gons, over on Instagram. This is Maxilius, the Harvester from the Necronominous Wave. I cannot wait to get this figure. I don't know if he's my favorite in the line, because I don't have any of them yet, but he's always going to have a special place, because I got to be on the table with Jeremy DeWitt for his reveal at the Necronominous G-Con. So yeah, I can't wait to get this guy. I love that weird fused bone face where like there's no eye sockets. And Ryan absolutely killed this shot. You got some of those Carver torches in the background. And it feels sinister and again, not a character you want to bump into anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ryan's been doing a great job, and we keep talking about it throughout this year. Like, I'm just so glad that he's back at it and doing the photography. He sounds like he's trying to make himself do something on an everyday basis, which is great. Sometimes you just got to get out there and do it. And he's been doing an awesome job, and I couldn't be happier. So great figure too, by the way. Pete.
Yeah, I love Ryan. He was one of those guys that you just meet and it was meant to be. You know what I mean? And like so many of us that have bumped into each other and then, call and text, and now we look forward to seeing each other at cons and we're on each other's shows and we're getting involved, and he's such a great dude. And this figure is absolutely amazing, and take an amazing figure and an amazing guy that can take amazing pictures, and this is what falls out. It's a ton of fun. But that figure, man, is just, those things are two steps above fantastic, man. They were absolutely bonkers.
Yeah. And I'm gonna do a little self-indulgent thing here real quick. Sorry, because I was doing my review for Maxilius today, which will be up on Tuesday on the Art by Akerman channel. But I've been waiting to do this and show this since that GCon. And I absolutely love the robes on that to make a monk. It's so freaking good. And I ordered extra Maxilius just to kind of do this, and I couldn't be happier. It's an amazing piece. So, and then let me show one more, this one too. Just some crazy cool things that you can do with that Maxilius. I absolutely love it. So, check that out Tuesday. That'll be dropping. But man, I love that figure. Good stuff. All right. We have a couple more things to cover. So first off, Darla and I got our copy of Emil's book, The Mauritius Treasure. This is a story he was on talking about it last week. He had wrote this almost 20 years ago now in Swedish. And he's even today, he said he still has people that come up to him and tell him how much they love the story. And so, a couple years ago, he translated into English and put a video on his YouTube, which is phenomenal. Definitely recommend checking it out. But he just put it up for sale on Amazon. He, redid some of the wording on it and everything and put it up there. So this is up on Amazon right now. It's The Mauritius Treasure. We will put the link in the description after the video. I think Jesse just threw it on there. But yeah, check it out. It's awesome, and you guys are going to love it. It's very heartwarming tale. And even somebody like myself can read it because it's not that challenging. So, all right. So we do have a couple more things to show. And they are things for MuskeCON. So first, wanted to show Darla has been working on a new cape for MuskeCON that we're going to debut there. So I wanted to pull that up. So this is the first time we're seeing this. So new. It's scaled for dwarf size. You could use it on goblins, or if you just wanted like a half cape on a 1.0 or something, I guess it would work for that too. But hooded. This nice blue felt. It's really nice. I was playing with it today, and I love this. So this will be available at MuskeCON.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting one or two of those.
Yeah, it's an awesome one. And then we have got something else to show that's also a giveaway for tonight. And that is a new Charbot arm from Brian Lynn over at Carver Customs. He has done this MuskeCON exclusive. You want to talk a little bit about this, Pete? Because I know you've been a little involved in this.
Yeah. So this was one of the easiest conversations I've ever had. I bought a couple of Charbots from Carver Customs, Brian and Stacy Lynn at Legion's Con. I immediately gave them to David Williams to take home to paint. I just kind of said, hey, I know there's a lot going on, Brian. I know but I'd really love to talk to you about maybe doing something for MuskeCON. He goes, yeah, I'd be interested. I thought, it's cool, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk. And about a week later, I got a prototype. I was like, this guy, man. And it's absolutely awesome. I could not be happier with it. Obviously, I mean, it's firefighter themed. So you can see that there's an extinguisher in the upper arm. And then, of course, the nozzle comes down. Fireman's axe, and then there's a pick on the front, and then the top is actually a forked end, like it's on a Halligan bar, a forcible entry tool that we use. I didn't prompt anything. I just said, hey, would you do something for MuskeCON? And this was all him, man. And it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited that he did it. I'm super excited that it's, he's tying it into MuskeCON and making it an exclusive there. Yeah, again, working with great people, and they're coming up with great things, and it just elevates every aspect of what we do.
Beautiful. Well, we are giving one of these away tonight from Brian. So you will get the base Charbot body that you see there on the left, as well as the exclusive arm for that'll be at MuskeCON. If you're going to MuskeCON, you can pick it up there. If not, then he will definitely ship it. But this is kind of what it looks like with that arm on the Charbot. So you're going to be getting the Charbot base body and that arm on there. So
absolutely awesome.
Very cool. Jesse, you want to throw up a giveaway tool there? Maybe like a hashtag MuskeCON, maybe?
Oh, well, I had already made one.
Oh, that's fine. What do you got?
So let me pull the share screen up.
There you go. That works.
Nice
too.
and simple. Hashtag
right.
Charbot.
So throw up that the hashtag, folks, to be entered in to win, and we will pull that here later in the show.
There will also be for all of you that don't win tonight. There will also be a similar giveaway at the Mythical Midwest Meetup.
Ooh,
that
nice.
is taking place the night before MuskeCON in Muskegon. So that will prove to hopefully be an amazing time as well. So
beautiful. Had a couple things that came up that I wanted to pull up comment-wise. When we were going through the pictures, Captain Firebear Baker says, regarding outdoor action figure photography, I advise everyone, if able, to get out in nature with a figure and more and give it a go. It can be challenging, but it's so rewarding. So nice way to get some exercise and also have fun with your toys. And then Dorklayer had a question for you, Pete, and said, is that a coffin-shaped display shelf for your Glyos?
Yes and no. It is a coffin-shaped display for my Glyos. Unfortunately, I failed to read the description, and they're a little bit too short, unfortunately. So I can get them in the top, and yeah, so but it was still too cool not to hang up, even though I was a little bit disappointed. And I have a ton of I have miniatures galore from D&D, and I have awesome dice, and I have no shortage of cool things to fill it with. But yes, my intention was Glyos, and then it didn't work out.
Speaking of Glyos,
yeah, as soon as you
pull this out of my pocket, little pocket Glyos. So yeah,
this was my carry today. I just love these little guys, man.
For the record, folks, Curtis has been carrying that in his pocket for the past week. It was not brown when he got it.
I also got a couple new ones in too. Some Mighty Max ones. This one that would look like Constructicon I had to pick up like that. That was just awesome. And then this guy was, I just loved that, like white and black with the translucent axe and the skull face. Cool stuff.
Those Mighty Maniacs are awesome. They're just they're not crazy conducive to pockets.
Right.
They're a
little bit bigger, yeah.
One of my all-time favorite sculpts is, of course, the biomass monster, and this is the most inconvenient thing to carry with you. So
Uh,
I mean, I still do
Why?
it, but it's just not convenient.
looks like we've got some folks out there that don't know what Glyos is. Can you explain, Pete, what Glyos is to some of these folks?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, Glyos in and of itself is actually the pin style of how these figures are put together. So what's super cool is all of these different figures that we're showing you all pop and swap, and it'll be difficult to see on the camera, but there's just this little tiny pin and it has a ridge on it. And they're all compatible with each other. So if you look at like these two figures that I have here on the desk, you can see that they are opposite colors of each other. Well, that's because I just took the arms off and the legs off and I swapped them back and forth. They're all interchangeable. People come up with some of the coolest, craziest. This is another good example. So this is a Geodraxis sculpt and the Galva. Oh, geez, what the hell is this one called? Anyways, it's just arms and head, and I swapped them. That's all I did. And they're all completely compatible. But what's super cool is Matt Doty from Onell Designs came up with Glyos. Other companies have created figures and used the Glyos compatibility system. And then what they've done is they're all sharing colorways kind of across the waves. So you'll get Onell, he'll drop a couple of his style figures, and it'll be a cool color. And then Marty from God Beast will go, he'll do one of his sculpts in that color. And that's essentially what happened. So like God Beast did these figures here, the Scarabite Zullens, and then Calgrim, Rawshark Calgrim said, hey, Marty, and I don't know, this is exactly how the conversation went, but hey, Marty, I love that color scheme. Can I do my Glyos compatible figure in that color scheme? And yeah, they're just, it's a super fun group of toy creators that kind of share in this intellectual property of the Glyos pin system, and everybody kind of gets jiggy with it in the world of creativity and creates cool things. I'm super glad that I was able to introduce Jeremy DeWitt to these. There was just something missing in his life, and I think me being able to say, hey man, have you seen these Glyos? He just absolutely fell in love with them as well. So you're welcome, Jeremy.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, you guys on your show, you definitely talk some toys, but
Loosely.
but it feels like you really are the one out of the four that is on like the top of kind of what's going on in the industry. Like just, it's for
Absolutely.
Staying in touch with it.
Yeah,
So,
I'm keeping my finger on the pulse of it.
yeah.
And it's no different. Every Sunday I painstakingly go through and I bring all of the toy news. I bring all of the toy drama. I play the guitar when I do my parody
you create
songs.
half the toy drama. So
that's true. Dude, it was so funny the other day when I posted in the Cabal about that shelf in my office. Like people were like, okay, what's the punchline? Like where's the rest of the post, Peter? Like this isn't like a normal human post. Like this isn't you.
Bill must have had to walk away for a second because he's asked again if that's a coffin shaped Glyos shelf. The answer was yes, but it does not fit his Glyos. Measured correctly. So.
I didn't measure correctly, Bill. But I will say that the one of the lovely Legion's ladies, Tanya, pointed out that I could put them in a seated position and get them in there.
Oh, very nice.
Why I didn't think of that is beyond me. Because that seems like a pretty easy fix. So
Joe says Jeremy's blood pressure intensifies.
So I did hold on a second. I gotta grab.
I'm hoping I'm gonna pull up this, and I'm hoping that Pete can translate this from Bill because I don't understand this. Huh?
I was looking that up. That is the Knights of the Slice. I guess there's some figures that are only available through their Patreon. Pete can probably take over from here now that he's back if he knows.
Yeah, can you translate this to human for us?
Yeah, Toy Pizza Knights of the Slice is one of the companies that does Glyos compatible figures. Their Patreon, if you are a $30 a month tier level, you every other month you get 2 Glyos figures that are exclusive to Patreon first, because they do become available to purchase after the fact for those that didn't go all through that. But you also, and there's more to it. And Bill, I am currently not a Patreon supporter of them, but Bill Dorklayer is. And there's a lot of other things too. You get first crack on some of the figures. You get to see pre-production stuff. Like it sounds like they really kind of take good care of their fans. They're not like the "My Wife Is Going to Kill Me" podcast. So, but yeah, so in those figures, so these Knights of the Slice figures, actually, well, you know what? I'm just going to grab one because I got one right here. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean the ones that I see here, like especially that one in like the blue and the gray, like has a very Mask vibe to me, like the figures that used to come with the Mask vehicles. It feels like that.
Yeah. So, and they're like 3 3/4 inch scale. They're Joe size. So, this is the first one that I had to have. This is, if my information is correct, this is a 2016 New York Comic-Con exclusive firefight. So I have it for obvious reasons, but like you said, you can see that it is, quite a bit larger. Like I said, it's G.I. Joe size, fully Glyos compatible armor. So I had to get my hands on this one because, of course I had to have it. I needed it. The only other one that I have from Toy Pizza is this awesome diver.
Oh, wow.
And comes with a bunch of cool different hand attachments and different helmets, and they're super fun. They're a pretty fun company.
On his arm?
Yeah, that's a huge ass drill. So
that's awesome.
And I've got a.
Did you say ass drill?
I don't think you meant it as an ass drill. Like it's not an
ass drill. It's not a huge ass drill. It's a huge ass drill. Punctuation is important. Gotcha. That was my fault, Jeff.
Punctuation matters.
Yeah. So I Pocket Glyos and Pete, my adventures of me and my Pocket Glyos. We have a website, or we have a Facebook page called The Adventures of Pocket Glyos. Feel free to join that. So I have little lunch boxes that I had custom made to keep my Glyos in. We'll open up this bad boy here real quick so we can. And I carry various different Glyos.
I think somebody put something on the back of that. I'm not sure.
My blue one. Well, my blue one says something else, but this felt more appropriate. So I have a blue one with the Adventures of Pocket Glyos logo on it, and that is the ones that I take to the podcast that I haven't brought for Thanks UPS Guy. Then once I show them on the show, they go into the Adventures of Pocket Glyos and Pete, and those are the ones that I haven't taken with me on photo shoots yet. And then the ones that I have that I keep on a kind of a regular rotation, they're in an amazing Cosmic Legions lunchbox by the awesome 1/6 shooter.
Oh, very nice. So,
and currently is holding all of my Geodraxis in it because they're on pretty heavy rotation in my pocket. So
very cool.
I like to have a little bit of 1/6 shooter next to my 1/3 shooter. Oh, so good.
So question, Pete. Now that you've really dove into Glyos, which you found completely on your own, do we anticipate any presence from any of the Glyos folks at MuskeCON?
If I were a good promoter, you bet your ass there would be.
Okay.
No, so one of the great things. So, blessing and a curse of MuskeCON. It's a pretty successful event, and I have very, very loyal vendors, which means because of my limited space, I don't get a bunch of openings every year, which is one of the reasons that I want to open things up and try to get that additional space, even though it's a little bit farther away from the main vendor hall. That will give me the opportunity to bring some of the things back that I miss, like panels that'll be able to include new vendors that I don't have space for now, i.e. hopefully a little Glyos corner. So yeah, I have every intention of doing it, but we're not there yet. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would imagine that, in cons in general, typically it's not a great thing to separate from everybody else, because like then you feel like, oh well, nobody's going to come see me because you're missing the foot traffic.
Yep.
But I do think if you know, with the Legion's presence that you already have there, if all of a sudden you add like a Glyos to that, and those folks were separated from the rest, from everything else, I think you probably would still get what you need for those vendors. Like that seems like that would be a pretty good attraction.
Right. Yep. And that's kind of the line of thinking. But like I said, that's the other part, and I've mentioned this before on our show too. My convention center is a little bit challenging to work with in some aspects because they don't like me. They don't like
Okay.
they don't like weekend conventions. Because they're hotel based, they want the 3 to 5 day during the week conventions where they're renting out 200 rooms for business professionals and doctors and whores or whatever. I don't know what the conventions do during the week. But so unless
you meant like scary movies, right?
Yes,
horror.
Horrors. Yeah, not
Gotcha.
not sex workers. No.
Gotcha.
No, who would pay for that? It's so easy to get for free. But so the only way that I can
Speak
book
for yourself.
You just need to. No, I'm not even gonna go there. So the only way that I can book, like actually schedule MuskeCON more than 6 months in advance is I have to also book 250 hotel rooms.
Oh wow.
Which will never happen for my event. So I have a year's worth of planning to do, and I can plan it in a year because I can take my time and hit my marks. Well, all of a sudden now it's 6 months, and I'm condensing all of that, and I'm constantly behind the 8 ball. And because of my severe ADHD and personality conflicts and brain of how things work, it's increasingly difficult in a short time frame. So I just wish I had friends that were constantly bothering me about wanting to help. You know, like I wish they would. I wish Jeremy would be more helpful. I wish he would have told me about Glyos. I wish, so that's obviously a joke. You guys know what a joke that is, because Jeremy is the love of my life. So
Jeremy's awesome. He also did.
Joe, I wasn't making a reference. I don't know what reference I made, but
Jeremy also has done some amazing theme songs for us. I mean, between this show and OffWorld, and then now the Art by Akerman tune, like that dude is so freaking talented. Like I don't know why everybody in this community that has a show doesn't go to him for a theme song.
The other thing too is he's great at jingles. I'm not going to take that away from him. He's absolutely amazing. He's an amazing musician, right? Like, and that's, and so for those of you that don't know, currently on Spotify, if you search up Another Path, there was 3 songs from his first, it's called the Dark Season EP. And there are 3 amazing songs, and they're on regular rotation. He finally just dropped Echoes, his second album, and I believe there's 12 tracks, and they're amazing. And what I want you to do is just do me this one favor. Another Path, go to Spotify or any of the streaming platforms, listen to one song. That's all I'm asking. And I want you to understand that Jeremy DeWitt sat down and wrote every single piece of that song. The guitar, he's playing. The bass, he's playing. The drums are him. Everything is him. All of the voices that you hear are him. All the melodies, the lyrics, everything is him. He is literally a one man. And this is like production level music, to where you listen to it and you go, like, am I just listening to 97.9 GRD? Like, is it sounds like it's that good. And I can't say enough good about it. I get to hear it before everybody else. He's constantly sending me songs and asking me what I think, and I'm constantly telling him how freaking great he is. And it's just good stuff. It's absolutely good stuff. So give it a listen. The second album just dropped yesterday. So
he says you've earned your $5. So there you go.
Well, yeah, like I said, I don't want to say it's easy to write jingles, because it's not, but it's easy to go, hey, he made a cool jingle. It's so much more than that.
Well, and
his level of musical talent is so much more than those jingles.
I get that, but as somebody in this community that's just putting out content and doing a show and this and that jingle that gets stuck in people's head, but not in a bad way. Like like you've had certain things that get stuck in your head.
MuskeCON,
Right.
MuskeCON.
You get things that stuck in your head and you're like, oh my God, why can't I get this out of here? But then you get these other things in there that you're like, yes, I want to watch that show just because I get to hear that song.
Yep.
Like, he's so talented. Yeah, I've got that saved on my Spotify. I'll definitely check that out. Is there, of the ones that are on there, is there, like, if somebody was going to start with one song, is there one that you have that you recommend to start with?
So right out of the gate, off Dark Seasons, there's only 3 songs. Don't Forget Me is my favorite of those 3 tracks. They're all great, but on his new album, because we're nerds, what I want you to do is I want you to listen to Your Truth. It's the first one on the list, and it literally opens up with 8-bit Nintendo sound.
Oh, nice.
And then it gets into a great rock song, and then you get into the next track, Closer, and you're like, this is great. And then in the middle of Closer, all of a sudden he drops an organ solo, and I'm like, this guy.
Yeah, but apparently he doesn't play enough instruments, because Trevor says he doesn't play brass, and that's why he can't use them. So
all you got to do to toot 1/6 shooter's horn, you got to blow that brass. Come on, Jeremy, step it up. So I never picked him for a ska guy. I'm a ska guy. I love me some ska. So
that's cool.
But
okay, so getting to MuskeCON, all right, and I'm not blowing smoke. I mean, just because you're on here, I've told people this. My favorite con of the year is MuskeCON. And I know it's a 1-day show, but it feels like 2 days if you're a Legions fan, because of the Mythic meetup beforehand, because the kind of the after scene after the show that you're actually like hanging out with folks and doing some fun stuff. So it's March 21st and 22nd.
Yep.
The 21st is the meetup.
Yep. 21st is the meetup, and that'll be the evening before, and it does. It really is only a 1-day show. But even before we were doing, this is only our 2nd year doing the meetup. Even before that, because it's such a friend-centric show, like so many people would come Friday. We would hang out after setup and do that. And so many people, they stay Saturday night. They go out to dinner. We have a great time. And then they go home on Sunday. So even though it's just the show during the day on Saturday, really people really do make a weekend out of it. And we try to create an environment where there's something for you to do. If you want to do that, somebody to say, hey, I'm going to drive 6 hours to go to a show and then turn around and drive 6 hours back, that can suck, you know? So again, for the Legions fans, the Mythical meetup the night before, and even if you're not into that and you want to make the trip up because you're interested in the con, it's right downtown Muskegon. There's 8 great bars and restaurants within walking distance. It's a block away from a hockey arena. It's across the street from the Froenthal Theater, which is a 1,700 person venue where they do, live plays and what have you. There's a ton of cool stuff to do. It really is a nice area.
And I'll throw out there, when he says hockey arena, it's not like, oh, well, I don't have tickets. I don't have like literally they had like just a bar above the arena, so you go in and you can order food and you can drink whatever, and the hockey game's just going on below you, so like you can, it's basically like a bar, but at the same time there's a hockey game going on. It's super cool.
It is, and it's juniors hockey, so it's not like it's an NHL thing with, if you show up, odds are for $15 you could get a ticket and go in and watch the game if you wanted to, or hit Rad Dad's or Legends, which are the 2 bars there. Rad Dad's tacos and tequila, and then you've got Legends, which is just good, step up bar food. And like you said, literally grab a brewski and just walk to the edge and see what's going on down on the ice. It's a lot of fun. So there's plenty to do. But yeah, the show runs from 10 until 5. It's $10 to get in the door. The Legions will have Jim Preziosi and Jeremy Gerard from Four Horsemen will be on site. They always have a good time. Jeremy is very complimentary too, because he gets to kind of let his hair down a little bit at this show, because he's got a street team and it's not Legions Con, so he's not organizing. There's not G-Con the day before, and so
those bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Drink some bears.
And it's a good time. And like I said, it's a family friendly atmosphere.
That was fun this week. He was on there with Steven, and yeah, his accent was definitely coming out. But he was talking about how he gets to relax at MuskeCON, and he just doesn't have to, he doesn't have to be on, and
Right.
performing, and Travis is running their table and stuff, so he gets to really enjoy it more.
Which is super funny because that means Travis is running their booth. He's not running his own booth.
Right.
It's other people running Travis's booth. So,
yeah.
But we have a great section for Legion's people. We're calling it what's Steven calling it? Legion's Row or something. But you've got Carver Customs, who's going to be there. Dusty Stanford and Ange from Dang Studios. Is it Bang or Dang? I never say it right ever.
It's Dang.
Dang Studios.
Yep.
Eric Miller has been there in the past. This year he isn't able to make it. Well, obviously we hope he returns, but he's been a huge Legion's presence. Frank Lira has been there in the past with his customs. In fact, first show he ever sold at was mine, which was super cool. But he has an injury and isn't going to make it, which is a bummer. Drunk Gizmo Customs, all the killer fountains and all that stuff. He's going to be there. There's 2 or 3 vendors that'll have Mythic Legions for sale on top of the Horsemen. Retro Rags is there with their Mythic Legions swag. I know I'm going to miss somebody. I feel like an absolute Wolf King Customs, maybe. I don't recall. Wolf King Customs. Last year,
I think
Wolf
there's
King
a
Customs.
Steven guy. Isn't there a painter that's from the Michigan area?
Yeah, but he like hides in the Wolf King booth. I don't think he does anything Stephen Bishotti related. So, but of course, Curtis and Darla, the Akerman capes, and then whatever it is that Man Bun does, I forget. But it's just it really is a cool.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes.
EM
I knew he wasn't going to vend. Obviously, we'd still love to have you. And we'll always have a place for you in the future, which I told him when he gave me the bad news that, he wasn't going to be able to make it. But it's legit. It's like I think it's like dance recital for a daughter. I mean, something family related. You're like, yeah, dude, I get it, man. I absolutely get it.
Well, I mean, you may want to let the hotel know that there's going to be quite a bit of booming, because that's 3/5 of the enablers that'll be there. So
I have no idea who those people are. I'm such a terrible person. Like if you were like name the host of Mythical Neighbors, I'd be like, I know Noah Pratt's involved.
There you
and
go.
That's as far as I can get because I'm just such a jerk face, man. So no, it's Noah, Wyatt, Eric Miller,
Joe Russo.
See, I didn't know. I thought Russo was more leaning Purple Gang these days.
No.
Okay.
And then Michael Xavier.
Michael Xavier, I would not have gotten. The times I've met him, he's been super cool, but he's not one that I've got to spend a ton of time with, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be super fun. Last year, Wolf King printed up some heads that Steven did. Steven actually sculpted a new head for MuskeCON for this year.
Ooh,
and it's
nice.
actually brute scale, and it's amazing. Jeremy DeWitt did the art for the badges. He did all the art for MuskeCON, but specifically, actually, if I send you that picture, will you put it up for me, Curtis?
Absolutely, yeah. Just shoot it to my.
Actually, if Jeremy's listening, he'll probably get it to you quicker. But
that's fine too.
So yeah, he
Sorry, go ahead.
Nope, I just he's just amazing, and so this is. I'm sending it to Curtis right now.
So as far as the like setup and the meetup and stuff, like, do you have times and stuff for that yet?
The time, we'll be announcing the time for the start of the meetup here shortly.
Okay.
What we did last year was we closed the vendor hall at 8:00. And selfishly, I didn't want to miss much, so we did open it a little bit before that. But I need to be in the vendor hall till 8. I think what we're going to do is it'll probably be like a 7:00 doors open for the meetup, and it'll be like just kind of cocktails and conversation. It'll be cash bar like there was last year, and then this year again they did a pretzel bar last year, which was super cool. Had hot pretzels and then cheese and mustard, and then of course to dip them in, and then just a series of regular munchy pretzels. So it isn't going to feed you dinner, but it definitely give you a nice little snack. And
So is the
there-
pretzel bar is back? Is that what we're
The
saying?
pretzel bar is back. Yep. There will be a small
That makes me
fee.
very happy.
Yeah, there'll be a small
Yeah.
fee to get in just to help cover the food in the room. It'll either be $5 or $10, but everybody that I've talked to didn't seem to have too big of an issue, even though I was really concerned about it. But yeah, and then you'll get a commemorative badge as part of that. The Four Horsemen are hopefully going to have some information for us, something to share, just some sort of news, because they're awesome. Sounds like these might actually be hanging from actual Four Horsemen lanyards, which is super cool. So yeah, it was a great time last year. We actually filled that room. I was so surprised. Nobody else was. Everybody else was like, yeah, we knew it was going to be like this. I was surprised. There wasn't an empty seat in there. We had piles of giveaway stuff, from figures to customs to coloring books to capes to, it was amazing. And we're going to have that again this year. So it was just a cool place to sit and chat, and that too. There were some kids in there. We kept that pretty PG, pretty family friendly as well. And so, and then of course the next day, we've got it's about 15,000 square feet total. MuskeCON is, like I said, it runs from 10 to 5, and everything from toys to comics to handmade goods, artists. It's really good. We had like I said, we have a ton of fun every year. Saturday morning is rough because I'm just waiting for things to go okay, and then all of a sudden I see the line of people waiting to get in, and then it's just all smiles the rest of the day. So
you want to tell us what we're looking at here?
Yep. So this is the badge art done by Jeremy DeWitt, of course, who's amazing. It focuses on Nate Barch's art of the Furious 4 logo that he did for us back when we got our figures named after us by the Horsemen, before they started doing it for everybody and totally watering it down. So. But yeah, it's awesome.
Pretzel bar story on a previous episode, Curtis. Yes, we talked about it when Jim was on, I believe. There was somebody else was on that we were talking about.
We've talked about it a couple times, I think.
Yeah, but somebody was on recently. They said that they were eating Jim's balls. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, it was fun. I'm glad to hear the pretzel bar is back, and I'm sure that Jeremy's going to bring some sort of excitement for us. They had that announcement with the book last year, which is now on sale. Like that got talked about first at MuskeCON, and here we are now. It's available for purchase. It was through the Horsemen. Now it's through retailers. So yeah, that's cool. I can't wait to see what we get today or get this year. And Joe says it's Jim's birthday today. So happy birthday, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think,
I seem to remember celebrating his birthday at PowerCon.
We should probably, since it's his birthday, we should probably play this. That's his retirement throwing his chair away beat. So
that's him retiring his chair or retiring from the Horsemen.
When he was retiring from the Horsemen, he threw his chair away. So he's still doing some extra stuff with them on the side, but he doesn't go into the office now on a regular basis.
Oh,
so,
I didn't realize that. Okay. Yeah.
So he's still coming to some cons and stuff. Obviously, he'll still be at MuskeCON. He's still working on some things behind the scenes. Yeah,
that dude has a heart of
the studio
gold,
were irritated because it was a good chair that I think they would have liked to have, but it was the whole symbolism of being able to throw your chair away and moving on.
He's one of the first people to like my Instagram posts. Like when I put a picture on Instagram, he's one of the first guys to like it every single time. Especially like when it's my grandson and stuff. That dude has got such a heart of gold. That freaking that made of stone, gruff, get off my front lawn old man that I met all those years ago, I completely misjudged. Every time I see him, it's a big hug. How are you? And I've grown to just think the world of Jim, man. Happy birthday, Jim.
And that's something too about MuskeCON that I love. We talked about it. I talked about it with Jeremy recently on his show about just being able to kind of let loose a little bit more. But same thing with Jim. Like Jim has a great time in Michigan. Like you could tell, like he is having a blast. You know,
Oh, yeah.
during the show, the after hour stuff. Like he's one of the last people to leave as we're
Yep.
you know closing down the bars and all this and that. Yeah, it's a fun time. It's good to see those guys kind of in that element and not being stressed out about, you know, do we need to bring more product in? Do we need to do this? Do we need to do that? So
Yeah, counting the beans and make sure the cash register is right. And
right.
You know,
Yeah, they just put their trust in Travis. So you know.
so stupid.
So
Let's check on that giveaway.
oh yeah. Let's see what we got.
So, whoop, wrong thing.
So more information to come
Sorry.
on the timing of the meetup, and same thing I'm guessing with the setup. But the con is on Saturday. You said 10 to 5.
Yep.
10 to
So
5.
in vendors, the show opens at 7 for vendors. So, but it's amazing how many people come and actually set up Friday night. It's we're 75% set up before we close Friday night.
I've got a request for this year, but I'm not going to make it to you because I know you've got a lot on your plate. But I'm definitely going to hit up Steven. And that is just, can we ahead of time think about Saturday after the con where we're eating? Because that was like a whole thing, like the last couple of years, like everybody's scrambling and you got people not knowing, they're going to different places and they're loading up their cars and they're not. Yeah, like we just got to figure out something.
The biggest problem, and this is actually a real thing that we ran into. We started doing these shows and we started traveling. We started, we were going to PowerCon and we were going to Legions Con and we do Grand Rapids and we do Motor City and blah blah blah. And we've made all these great friends. Well, everybody wants to have dinner with us, which is awesome, but nobody can seat 40 people.
Yeah.
And like we got to the point of where like at PowerCon last time we did PowerCon and Legions Con, it was like, hey, this is what we're going to do after we eat. Let's all get together because we just can't accommodate everybody anymore, which talk about a great problem to have.
Yeah.
We have so many fun people in our lives that we want to have dinner with that we can't even go out to dinner with everybody anymore because there's just so many good people. So we literally are like, we run to Subway now and get a freaking $5 footlong, wolf it down, and then come back so we can spend time with everybody. Because we don't want to go and sit and spend an hour and a half at dinner anymore. We just want to eat and get back.
What's funny last year is we all kind of went different ways, and I think some people went to go try some things, and then everybody ended up back at the hotel just eating at the restaurant in the hotel.
Yep.
And it was like, hey, you're here. Oh, you're here too. It's like, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
we
and
could have
it's
just
was
planned
one
this.
of my
Just came here at the
favorite-
beginning. Yeah.
That dinner Saturday night at MuskeCON was probably one of my favorite dinners at a convention.
Oh, it was so
that
good.
was a ton of fun. In the other thing that I had contemplated was because there is so many people and we have all that space, there's no reason that if we wanted to, we could kick in and do a big private pizza party with all of just us inside the convention.
That'd be cool.
And go, hey guys, there's a ton of pizza places right there. We literally could have a stack of pizzas delivered and then just sit and hang out and chat and have all those conversations.
They have some like hesitation on bringing food in and stuff.
For sale, yes. I can't have any food vendors, but if it's for personal for us to eat, we can do that. So, and that would be super fun because then guess what? I'm sitting next to Jesse at dinner. We're having a great conversation. I can get up and walk over and sit next to Curtis and talk to Curtis and then go talk to Alexander Deshaw. Yep. And then, because when we go to a restaurant, that's the other part is I always want to sit in the middle. I get FOMO, man. Like, what's Jesse talking about? Is Jesse showing them a custom? What, and I can't see and I can't hear. And so there was some conversations about actually maybe doing something like that and going, hey, if you guys want to do dinner with us, let's do this. We'll set up in the room where the Mythic meetup was the night before. And hey, how many people do we need? Hey, everybody kick in $6. We'll get pizza ordered and we'll just do us. And then go out to the bar afterward, get a beverage, whatever,
I mean, it probably wouldn't be.
No one's
that bad
worried about
either
what I'm trying to say.
It probably wouldn't be that bad either to just, ask that little, bar, restaurant, whatever at the hotel, like, hey, how much to reserve, whatever, 50 spots or something.
I bet they'd give us that whole lower section.
That would be great. Like that, because we were there, I think it was the Friday night. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but we were there Friday night and we had that lower section like you're talking about, and there was all those tables, and you could do like you said, you could kind of pop around from table to table. You saw people like switching seats, and like you ate, and then you're just like popping around and talking to folks and everything.
You actually got to socialize a little bit. You weren't kind of pigeonholed into a spot. So,
and as Maverick says here, you did convince the waitress that that was his Make-A-Wish, was that dinner at MuskeCON last year.
I totally did.
And she fully bought into it.
I totally forgot about that. Oh, I absolutely did. Oh, that was fun. And it was so easy. I didn't even have to try hard.
No, it was. It was pretty easy.
About something like that? Who lies about it being a Make-A-Wish? Who lies about helping an old man in the ditch? Who does that?
And he turned like 3 shades of red too. It was awesome.
Good. It was so good.
For the record, Pete, just so you know, I think you had that old man in the ditch was with us before the show started, so I don't think anyone.
No, he talked about it here. No, no, he talked about it on the show.
Did I?
Did we?
Yeah, it was before. Yeah, it was before we went into the shelf selections. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm out of it.
I don't remember either. So.
But yeah, I mean, it's coming up, folks. If you haven't already made your plans yet, definitely, get ready, because MuskeCON's going to be here before you know it, and you're not going to want to miss it. It's a great time. I really love it. It's fantastic. So I'll actually be up there early this year, Pete. I found out I got to go to on a business trip to Chicago that week.
Oh.
And we are finishing up Wednesday morning. And so I'm just going to, instead of coming home and then driving back to Chicago, or going back to Michigan, I'm just going to head up from Chicago. So yeah, I'll be in like Wednesday night.
Okay. Or are you staying in Muskegon?
The little place called Shelve Bushati. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, dude, let me know. I'd love to give you a tour of the station and stuff and show you around my digs.
Oh, that would be super awesome. All I've seen so far is the salt piles. So
all I did last time was mowed Steven's lawn.
I did get to make it to Travis's basement and actually record an episode with you, but then Steven lost it. So that it's like, yeah, I see all these people that come in, like when you guys are getting ready to do your little caravan to Legion's Con, they come in, they do their little special episode and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that'd be awesome. And I finally made it, and I get there and record with you guys down in the basement, and then yep, Steven loses it on the iPad. So
343 episodes, he's lost 2 of them, and one of them happened to be when you were there.
Yep.
So
gotta love it. But yeah, it's just a great time. I'm looking forward to it. So okay, so I'm staying at Shelve Bushati, right? And I asked Steven, I was like, hey, like his family's just so accommodating, and I appreciate them letting me stay with them. And I was like, is there something that Courtney likes? Is there something she's into that I could get for her just as like a thank you gift and stuff? And he said, a picture of me. and then I'm waiting for like the real answer, and nope,
that was the real answer.
That's it. That's all he's got. Picture of me.
That was absolutely the real answer.
Yeah. So there you go.
No, she's the absolute sweetest.
Oh yeah. I mean, your whole crew it's just great. All of the the guys, the wives, the whole, you guys have a very tight-knit group up there of just toy collectors and everything. It's so interesting to me. Like, I'm down here and like I don't know anybody that collects toys, right? And you guys have this whole group of guys, like you do your little toy swaps and stuff, and just have get-togethers where you go and just swim in Travis's pool or whatever, or your Halloween parties, or what. It's just such a cool environment. I love it.
She does. She loves New Kids on the Block. Jeremy just pointed that out. You're going to be in Chicago. Her favorite is Donnie Wahlberg, who lives just outside of Chicago.
There you go.
And I know that because I took her over there to take a picture in front of his mailbox when we were down for a toy show one time. So
very nice. But yeah, I've always been jealous of kind of that group of folks that you have there, and that whole situation. It's very cool.
When we do it, and you're not the first person that said that. There are so many. I bet we have 30 good toy collecting friends that live within 60 minutes of us.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's absolutely crazy, you know. And so many people we talk to, they're like, "Yeah, man, I'm getting together to play D&D with so and so from the Cabal." Like, oh wait, well, yeah, it's 4 hours away. I'm like, what? You know, because like I said, people like Billy Beige, and I mean, to be honest with you, I think Billy Beige probably, like, I imagine his house looks like Bobby Boucher's, like just in the backwoods of Louisiana or Mississippi, wherever he's from, you know.
Yeah.
Like he rides a lawnmower to the office or whatever. But yeah, but it was strange to hear all those stories and hear people talk about that, because that's not what we know. What we know is we have all of these people around us, and then to find out that so many of you have to travel multiple hours just to get to a con or to another collector or to do a trade or to have dinner or whatever. It was, like I said, it was a little bit jarring for us. We're like, really? I'm like, geez, I bitched the other day because I drove down to see Old Man Kyle. It was 35 minutes, you know.
Right.
So
yeah.
wait, shout out to Billy. Get better. What's wrong with Billy?
Almost you make it. Billy's going through some health things right now. He's hanging in there. He's getting along, but yeah, he's working through some stuff. So,
Yeah,
but he's
sure.
also been putting out some videos and you know, just trying to have some fun as well. But yeah, we love Billy.
Make sure I shoot him a message.
Before we jump into any D&D talk, I got to show Pete this.
Oh, God Beast Kubushi.
At one of the local like used toy shops for $5.
That is amazing. That is
the
absolutely
extra
amazing.
head and everything. And then the last one that I'm pretty proud of, I found this a 4 Horsemen Glyos Outer Spaceman.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
I've never even seen one of those. That's super cool.
That's cool. Yeah, well, Jesse was kind of talking D&D. We did have a little nice discussion last week with Emil and Joe, and Jesse kind of talked about, you know, everybody's kind of origins into D&D, how they got into it, and what their favorite thing is about it. Love to just kind of continue that with you here, and just kind of like, how did you get involved in D&D, and what is it that you appreciate about that?
So I actually some friends that I went to school with, they were a year behind me. They graduated with my wife. I bumped into them later in life, and you know, just various things. We're still kind of in the same town, and our paths crossed. And I had gotten into, you know, I gotten into reading comics, and I had gotten into toy collecting. We were doing the podcast, and you know, it's very easy once you get into the world of nerd. There's so many doors that open, and I was never that guy that played D&D as a kid. I was never that guy that like thought D&D kids were losers. Like, it just wasn't even in my life. Like
Not on
I've
your
talked,
radar.
yeah, I've talked to people that were like, oh, I remember those nerds back in high school, and I'm like, I don't remember D&D in high school. I remember playing Magic the Gathering when I was younger. But I didn't realize that these guys had been playing since high school. And I just made an offhand comment to Wes Tanner, who is actually an incredibly talented voice actor, and has actually done some work in some of the mods for like Elder Scrolls and Skyrim and what have you, and along with 100 other things. And he's actually read. There's numerous fantasy books that he has read. He Dr. Doolittle became a where it becomes okay for anybody to use, public domain.
Gotcha. Yep.
And somebody did a new version of that as a book, and he does it all in voices. So there's like 17 or 18 different characters. He voiced all of them in the reading of the story. Super talented guy. The reason I tell you all of that is he's our DM, and you want to talk about the magic of DM. The people that can do voices and I mean, it's just, so I said, hey, have you ever, I know that, you know, in campaigns, and I know there's tight knit groups and all that stuff, but if you ever find an opportunity where you need a player, I would love to try it. And they were like, well, yeah. So I got in and absolutely fell in love with it. And I went down the rabbit hole. And one of the greatest things for me, and it kind of sounds sappy, but it's very, very true. The idea of being able to, there was a time in my life, and I think I talked about this with you guys before. Everything I did was public safety. Like my whole world revolved around that. It was my job, and I was an instructor across CPR in chemical biological stuff in agricultural rescue, and everything about me tied back to my job as in public safety. In 2012, I had a couple of bad days. A couple of teenagers, 2 drownings, same lake, same time. I wasn't able to save either of them. Now, don't get me wrong. They couldn't be saved. Like I know that the logical part of my brain tells me that, but
Right.
the things that you go through of, well, if I would have done, if I would have, could have, should have, all that other stuff. Right.
Right.
And so I was looking for an outlet. I was looking for some sort of therapeutic something. I needed to turn off my public safety brain. And that's when I started doing stand-up comedy. And that was awesome because I got to go up on stage and I got to write my jokes and I got to try to make people laugh. And I really enjoyed that. And then that led into me doing a monthly show here in our town where I booked the comics and I hosted it and did all of that. My family got bigger and that got just kind of increasingly difficult. Then we started doing the podcast, and the podcast scratched that itch. I get to try to make people laugh and joke and have fun with friends, and I get to kind of disconnect. On that weird chance, I was like, I want to try D&D. That really became a supplement for that because once a month I get to become Twaybor Inquisitor, but the level 10 human fighter, level 3 rogue, and I get to go on these amazing fantasy adventures with these great people. And I can't do voices; they all do voices because they're amazing, and I can't. But I get to act as this other person. I get to take on this persona, and I get to make decisions as if I were them. And we always have great food, and it makes this great day, and it's an amazing opportunity to unplug.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's been a couple of games where something's popped off and hey guys, I got to go because something happened in my community that warranted my attention. But
Right.
For the most part, I go, hey guys, I'm going to be out of service today. If you need anything, call Deputy Chief. And I go and play, and it's therapy, man. It really is. And I enjoy it. It's great people. It's great, but there's a deeper seed to it that I don't think a lot of people realize, at least for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds a lot like, some of this other stuff that we do. Like we do a customizing studio on Sundays where we do this group chat and we have a call and we're all just like painting and talking and, it's that fellowship, right? Like Same thing when you go to these conventions. Like we love these toys. These toys are great, but we've now made friends within this community that the toys were no longer there. We would still want to interact with these people and have that fellowship. And that's awesome. So when you can have fun and do that kind of stuff, but at the same time, just be around other people. And like you said, disconnect for a little bit. Very cool.
Well, and are you leaving?
No, he's away.
Saying hi to Mike in graveyard.
I've got one of my best friends since first grade. We don't see each other a ton. We only live 10 minutes from each other, but busy lives, right? We make it a point to go golfing a few times a year together. And it is just an excuse for us to catch up. Yes, we're hitting a ball, we're driving a golf cart, but it could be billiards. It could be kayaking, it could be anything. And in a lot of ways, the podcasting, the toy collecting, the conventions, input this hobby here. It's not about the hobby, it's about those people that it brings together, and it's about that time spent. I would not attend a con by myself. I just wouldn't. The last con that I attended, I took my wife and my daughter. We had a freaking blast, but it was an opportunity because, again, we have 4 kids. My oldest is married, yet we have a grandchild now. It's very difficult to get one-on-one time with any one child, right? And you get into these times where it's, hey, we're dragging this kid to cheerleading, and then we're dragging this kid to this one's wrestling, and then this one to this event, and it, so to try to kind of zone in and go, hey, this is something that I can do with this individual person. My son and I, we play video games. We talk about that stuff. We play fantasy football together. My youngest daughter has a pocket Glyos. You know what I mean? Like she did a photo shoot the other day with one. We're over at Grandma and Grandpa's house, and so again, just using it as an excuse to create opportunity for quality time. Like I said, it could be anything, and it happens to be something that I really enjoy in toys or D&D or whatever. So it's just good stuff. Like you said, the fellowship, man, that's really the key. And we are so blessed to have the people that we have around us,
That's super cool.
For sure.
Being somebody that loves D&D and you've been doing this for a while now, you go to Legions Con to G-Con, you see them reveal this new D&D game through the Four Horsemen. And not only that, but then you get to go in and sit in and play a session with it. Tell us about your thoughts about when they first revealed it. First off, like your thoughts, like what that meant to you, and then what it was like, the experience of actually playing it.
It's about time. Find me lore in this world, any lore that is more destined to be a D&D style adventure than Mythic Legions, and I'll give you $100 right now. It was meant for it, man. It really was. And when you look at, because so many games obviously are 5e based, right? So you call it Dungeons and Dragons, and maybe it's something else, but the idea is that system of play, right? And you're like, okay, you've got you build your characters, so you pick your race and you pick your class. Well, that's what the Mythic Legions have already done that, right? But one of the cool things is they've also given you factions. So in my mind, when I went to Cornboy a couple of years ago and said, hey, what are we doing for D&D? I want to do it. Can I be the guy? And he was like, you really should talk to Cameron. And I was like, damn it. That means Cameron's already doing something. And then I get a phone call from Jeremy Gerard. Hey, I need to talk to you, but you can't tell anybody. And I said, well, that's not a good way to start out this conversation, because I just went live on Facebook and put you on speaker. And he said, this is what we're doing. I said, dude, I'm like, I said, I can't say yes fast enough. And I was like, I was honored. I truly was honored to be asked to do that. So then to see what they did those things I was hoping they would do, the faction tie-ins, right? And I'm so excited to see what this whole thing is going to be when it's actually out there and done. And I'm a book guy. Like I have D&D Beyond, right? Because it's easy, but I have all the books because I like to flip through the pages, and I like that. I can't wait to get my hands on this player's manual and go through it and start to kind of understand it. And it's just another great opportunity. I'm so sorry. I pulled up the YouTube over here so I could read the comments, forgetting that the comments are on StreamYard. And I just realized, because there's a delay, how distracting I am with my own hands. I keep talking and going, what the hell is this guy doing? Oh, it's me. Knock it off. It
wasn't distracting me, just so you know. I was good.
I joked for a while. I was in a car accident quite a few years ago, and I tore my rotator cuff, and I was in a sling, and I made the joke to everybody that I felt like I had a speech impediment because I couldn't move my arm, But to be able to really kind of dive into this and kind of sink my teeth into what they're bringing, and I can't wait for the miniatures, and I can't wait for more dice, and because it's no secret that I'm an absolute dice goblin. I mean, that's and you have a question? Or are you saying
I just wanted to interject. When I get to play my in-person D&D game every other week, my Four Horsemen D20 is my best rolling die in my box.
Wow.
Do you find so do you find that you have a go-to set?
No.
Okay.
They betray me all the time.
I have, so when I'm set up, right, in person, and I look and I go, okay, so I have a little dice jail, it looks like a bird cage, and then I have a gelatinous cube for bad dice. And then I have a series of would be like rat kings, piles of rats, that one for each of the dice. So when they betray me, I can put them in a pile of diseased rats.
Okay.
But I always find myself going back to one set of dice, like something pivotal happened, and there's one set of dice that I always go back to and go, gotta have it. I gotta have it. But man, those D20s, the Horseman ones, they roll so nice, and I've had some good luck with them. But when the pivotal moments happen, I'm going back to I've got their blood splatter hand carved gemstone dice, and
Ooh.
they're hefty and they roll beautifully. And like I said, when the rubber meets the road, when everybody's looking at me because this is a pivotal moment, those are the dice that I go to. I bring 10, 12, 14 sets of dice with me to every single game. I have like 220 sets of dice, full sets, give or take. And so I rotate them, but I always have that one set with me because, man, there's something about, it's like my security blanket, man. And I just, every time.
See, I
I have.
don't get
Go
that
ahead,
because
Curtis.
we've only played online. Like we do this Legion's Quest. I'm not sure if you've seen it or heard it, but we do this Legion's Quest campaign that's basically on YouTube. It's also on audio format with Trevor, Nate, Jesse, myself, and then Joe Gonzalez is our DM. And so we're playing online and we're using the D&D Beyond. So we're just clicking on the dice on the computer, and it's
Blasphemous.
So like I don't get this whole like when you guys are talking like having certain sets and all this and that, like it doesn't mean anything to me because I'm just clicking a button. So
I have multiple different sets on D&D Beyond.
oh yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, you can get. It's always a pain to remember how to switch them, but yeah, I've got like I've switched through 2 different sets because one was rolling really bad for me, and that's virtual dice. And Maverick, no, it is a balanced die. The 4 Horsemen D20, I think, but the other die I was using because I'll have like 2 or 3 sets that are color coded to whatever character I'm playing in my in-person game, so they're themed to the character or their powers or something. And I get them out, and 1 week the one set it's just all like under 10s all night. So
he says so it's a magic dice.
No. You're not
Well, first of all, actually it's a magic die. Magic die. So I'm sorry. Maverick hits us with the little actually quite a bit. So I gotta hit him with the yeah, there you go.
If I roll a D20 20 times on a night with the one set, it almost never rolled over a 10. So I put them aside for a week. I rolled a different set. Again, really low die the whole night. I roll that D20 from Horseman, and it gives me a range from low to high. Like I get a variety of different numbers from it. So yeah, I'm going to roll the one that gives me options as opposed to always low.
Yep.
Awesome. So I know Joe, when we were talking to him about it, like a couple things that he's excited for at the game is having like stats for some of these like named characters that we know from the Mythic Legion line. So like knowing like how big of a badass they are. And even like he was talking about some of the weapons, like you know, you'll be able to have like a mace that we've had with umpteen number of figures that all of a sudden you'll know what the stats of that mace are and what kind of damage that mace does.
Right.
You know, it's so like we'll have this toy that we've been playing with for the last 10 years that all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, that does X amount of damage. Just kind of cool stuff.
Well, and that's the other side of it too, is it's the beast side, getting stat blocks for some of these trolls and these ogres and that kind of stuff. That's just, and like I said, it goes hand in hand. And when you talk about what's the Cabal now, like 6,000 strong? I mean, there's a ton of people in there, right?
Yeah, closing in on 7. Yeah.
And it's been pretty much guerrilla marketing. It's hey, somebody saw the figures. Hey, somebody saw the figures. Hey, somebody saw the figures. Cosmic, you start to bring some people in to the world because they like space stuff. You get your Star Wars type people, your sci-fi people, which was brilliant. This is such an untapped resource, because you're gonna have. There's so many people that enjoy the Mythic Legions characters that are going to enjoy this D&D because they go hand in hand. But you are going to have a ton of people that start looking at the 4 Horsemen because they're D&D and they go, oh my gosh, I can get a 6-inch version of essentially of this figure that I rolled up for this game. I mean, I think it's really gonna open a door, and I can't think of anything else. Like, I think the video game is a really cool idea. Not that we're ever going to see it, but there was some real crossover there that was going to happen, and you were going to get more fans to 4 Horsemen. I think that the number of people that would jump from a video game into collecting Mythic Legions action figures is a dwarf number compared to the amount of people you're going to get that are going to come from a 5e RPG into Mythic Legions. I think they're too damn similar. Like I said, what took them so long? So
well, I'll ask you a question that I asked these guys last week then. So like I walk into my hobby store or comic book store or whatever, and I see like all of these games, right? There's all kinds of different versions of this sort of 5e kind of game. If you're in charge, if you're Jeremy Gerard, right, and you're in charge of this marketing and stuff, and now you've got something completely different. This isn't the toys that we've been marketing to the same people for the last 10 years. This is now like something completely different. How do you make sure that people know what this is about and kind of get that in front of people that maybe don't collect these toys? What would be your strategy for that?
I actually had this conversation because anybody who's watched GCon, not last year, but the 2 years previous, knows that the only reason I'm not Jeremy Gerard is because I said, hey, I can't do that to Jeremy. But in the grand scheme of things, to get somebody into a game that isn't something that they're already familiar with, it's YouTube. It's actually getting a playthrough in front of people for them to kind of see and understand. I think that really is the secret sauce, because at the end of the day, if you get on Kickstarter today and you search RPG, there's 1,000 of them. Everybody is writing RPGs, which is great. And there's like they say, there's an ass for every seat, right? What you need to do, I think, to make this a big deal is people need to see it played in action. They need to understand what some of the nuances are. What sets this aside from every other RPG that's out there? Is it just a straight RPG that's based on 5e? It's just we're inserting the characters from Mythic Legions. That's probably good enough for 90% of the people. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's call it 70%. The other 30%, what does this? Hey, guess what? I hate the way that this type of magic user has to cast these spells. We fixed it. If you can look at some of the things that are perceived broken in the mechanics of the way other RPGs are written, or some of the other RPGs are, if you can fix a couple of those things, that's a big deal. That's especially for a DM, somebody who wants to run a game. And my DM is actually written 2 separate rule sets and taken 2 that he's learned off of that he found on YouTube that have fixed what he thought were imbalances, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And even the Dungeons and Dragons movie, they made fun of some stupid rules. Wake the dead, you get 3 questions. That was them taking a shot at the writers and making it funny, because everybody goes, really? Why 3 questions? What an arbitrary rule, and so if you can take some of those little nuances that people don't like and you can make it better, I think that's going to attract people who are already experienced players to go, oh, well, I don't have to deal with that shit. Well, that's super cool. But I think to set them apart from the big 5e compatibility side is really knocking it out of the park with the factions. We do race, we do characters, we do races, we do classes, we do that. Weaponry, there's so much stuff that it's already kind of just there, right? Doing something cool with those factions. And in my opinion, I think that the factions can almost replace your good, evil, neutral, chaotic, lawful. You could actually have the classes are built that way. And if you are in this faction, you are a good character and you should act that way, right? If you are in this faction, well, you're evil. You're a vampire from this evil brood. Well, that shapes how your character should be. And I think the factions can really, I think they can take those factions and create some really cool things to replace that style of chaotic neutral, chaotic good, and tie it back. So then we're using the factions that already exist and giving people a reason to go, you know what, I'm going to play this character, but I'm going to tie him to this faction. And then we get a little bit of mix and match, or you can have a character who was this faction, but for whatever reason left and is now this faction. So now you've got this kind of chaos neutral of, hey, when faced with this situation, the new person they are wants to do this, but they kind of fall back on their old ways.
Yeah,
of,
their instincts are this, but their intention is that. Yeah.
Stabbed him in the eye. Sorry, we were gonna ask him questions. Yeah, I just get stabby. Sorry.
I get stabby.
And the first character that I ever played was a rogue. In my introduction, because they had already played an adventure together, I jumped into the campaign after a few sessions. The first time they saw me was me running down the stairs of a pub, jumping across the table, sliding, turning, and throwing a dagger into a guy's throat. That was the introduction. Well, come to find out, they immediately think that, hey, this is the evil guy. No, these were bad people that were meeting, and I was part of the Harpers, and I was actually on a mission trying to do good. It went sideways. I got found out and had to, and it was a really cool way to. They're like, oh man, look at this evil piece of shit. No, he's actually a good guy that was defending himself, and so there's a lot you can do with that.
Yeah, I know last week, a couple things that got mentioned. Jesse was saying something similar to what you're talking about with like YouTube, but more like a grassroots kind of talk to your local shop kind of thing about not only carrying this, but maybe even putting on a live game, so that people can see what's going on and kind of participate and whatever. And then one thing that Joe brought up was that there's some races that are going to be available in this that people have never been able to play. Like
Those
people
are
that
gonna be
wanted
huge.
to play a vampire or play a skeleton that they've never been able to do. Now they can do that.
Right.
So,
And I think they take the street team mentality, and that's what they do. They basically put together a training course, and they train 15 DMs across the country, and they go out to their conventions. They go out to their local game shops, and they run a game. And I mean, how cool would that be, Jesse? You've got experience, and they say, you're at your local shop and you're running a game and you're introducing everybody to this. And hey, the horseman sends you a little giveaway or something. I mean, you like grassroots. That's brilliant. I didn't even think about that, but that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I already talked to our local shop in the area. I said, it's going to be a while. They're going to do like a crowdfunder and stuff, but when there's something in hand, can I come in and run, some trial demos? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. So
yeah, that'll be huge. That'll be absolutely huge.
yeah. So a lot of fun stuff coming for that. I did have a question because I know you play video games and I know you're into D&D. Have you played Baldur's Gate?
Yes.
Baldur's Gate 3?
Yep.
And your thoughts?
I played it for about 14 minutes and I never picked it back up.
Really?
Not for me.
Really?
I didn't.
I'm shocked.
The kind of the turn-based, I just didn't. I love D&D. I really do. And I jumped at the chance to play. There's video games that I love, but my brain didn't wrap around it. It just wasn't for me. And yeah, I was disappointed because I was really excited about it, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm shocked at that. Like I got turned on to it from Joe and from Emil, who both are really big into D&D, and everybody that I've talked to that plays it, that is also into D&D, loves it. This is the first time hearing this. So that's
I've never heard a bad thing about the game. I bought it based on 100 people's recommendations.
Yeah.
So, and you know what though, and like I said, that's also one that I probably will give another chance, because sometimes sometimes you got to get a little bit deeper than 15 minutes to really kind of sink your teeth in, But I'm also old school, and I don't mean old school like Nintendo 8-bit, but old school like I kind of like what I like, and I tend to revisit. I'm a first-person shooter guy. Like right now, I'm finally doing another playthrough of Fallout 76. Fallout 4 is the greatest game ever made, and you could try to argue with me, but you'd be wrong. so let's not even get into it. And 76 broke my heart, absolutely broke my heart. And they spent a few years fixing it, and I thought I'm gonna give it another shot. And I've got about 45 hours into it over the last week and a half, and I'm really enjoying it finally.
Well, that's good.
And but Skyrim, I've done a couple playthroughs of that. Starfield, I'm getting ready to do another playthrough of that. But like, there's a lot of games that people thought I would love that I couldn't get into Red Dead Redemption. I couldn't get into The Witcher. I think it has something to do with the third person. I think I'm just very set in my ways. Like, if it's not first person, like, I don't get it. You know,
I totally understand what you're saying. I got a PS5 and I've bought several games for it, and a lot of them I've played for an hour, 2 hours, and then I don't ever play it again. Baldur's Gate 3, I'm on my 7th full playthrough. Like, something hits you for whatever reason it is that it hits you, and it's like, this is all I need. I don't need any of these other games, so I get it. So.
Well, and that's and it's funny too, because I've done numerous playthroughs of a lot of those titles, and the one thing that I can't do is I can't be a bad guy, no matter how hard I try. Fallout 4, I worked so hard. I get into Nuka World, into the DLC, and the Raiders like, you got to go kill Preston Garvey, and I go, I can't. He's in love with me. I can't do it. I can't steal from people. I can't kill innocent people. Like, I can't do it in any of those games. I'm still pretty much a good guy, which I'm fine with, but yeah,
I've had this talk with Joe Gonzalez. He's kind of the same way. Like, he'll go into a thing on Baldur's Gate and be like, I'm gonna be a bad guy here. I'm gonna be, and then like, you build these relationships with people in the game, and then you're like, I can't do that. Like, that's not, my character wouldn't do that. I can't. Yeah.
It was I showed up for the podcast one morning. This was quite a few years ago, and Kane, Travis's son, was playing Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Said, hey, what are you doing, man? He's, I'm just killing these people. And he did a whole run through of just a full playthrough of just 100% murder hobo, man. And I'm like, I couldn't do that, dude. I really couldn't. And so the one thing that I will tell you, like, this most recent run through of Skyrim, I did a ton of magic. Like, when my first playthrough, it was very just melee weapon based and whatnot, and I just beat shit to death. And then my second time, I did a lot more with archery and what have you. I did a lot more like armor crafting and weapon crafting. This third time through was a ton more magic, a ton more spells, and then a ton more like enchantments. And then I realized how much I was missing out on my first playthrough when I'm like, each piece of my armor gives me a perk. I'm like, oh, guess what? This lower leg armor, I get 5% extra melee damage, and all this stuff. For your fire regeneration is better. And because I was afraid to kind of step outside of how I was doing it, I missed out on a lot. And so my Fallout 76 run through, I'm trying to be a little bit more creative, and I'm modding weapons earlier, and I'm modding armor earlier, and I'm trying to figure things out a little bit. But yeah, I'll definitely probably give it another chance.
You're not completely unable to change then.
No, not completely unable.
We talked about your unwillingness to accept help running MuskeCON and stuff, but you can change. It just takes a lot.
Well, and with MuskeCON, one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to change and I'm going to get help, or it's going to die, and one of those people that offered to help is going to replace it with their own event. Like, there's only two direct. It's a T in the road. I'm going left or right. There's no third direction. So,
awesome.
Real quick.
Yep.
We got a super chat came up a couple minutes ago from Kevin Boots, $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Kevin. Curtis, I drove through your favorite stretch of Pennsylvania today.
I'm guessing he's talking about the Turnpike, which is not my favorite stretch of anything ever. So
I want to ask you this, Curtis. When you drive the Turnpike, do you go the whole way across Pennsylvania on the Turnpike, or do you switch over halfway through?
No, it pretty much takes me the whole way. Now, this last time, we actually didn't go the Turnpike. We went like around a different way, because we had put in there no tolls, because that's one thing that pissed me off like the last 2 years, was that I would get home from Legion's Con, and then I would start getting these letters in the mail that you owe this amount, and you'd pay it. And then like 3-4 days later, you get another letter says you owe a different amount, and then you pay that. And then like 2 weeks later, and I'm like, I'm done with the tolls. So there's an option on there where you can select avoid tolls. And it was like 15 minutes longer is what it. And I was like, definitely worth 15 minutes to not have to deal with all that toll shit. And it took me a whole different way, and it was fine. I had no problem with it.
You know, there is an option to just pay the toll when you go through.
Well, no, they don't even have people there.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. They don't.
Yeah.
They did. Oh, you're right. I did.
Yeah,
it's all.
They took all the people,
or they'll send you letter.
Yeah, they took all the people that had those jobs collecting the money, and they put them into sending letters to people on how much money you owe.
Oh, so, yeah, I definitely owe Pennsylvania money because I never paid any of that from LegionsCon.
Yeah, well,
that's what we do. It takes us end to end. That one road from end to end in Pennsylvania, and by the time I'm halfway through, I want to start stabbing people.
You probably don't hit them because the way that it took me was further north, which is probably the way that it sends you, which means you missed the turnpike.
Well, either way, it's one road that takes you from one end to the other.
I don't think you hit the tolls. I think you're good.
Well, we hit plenty of tolls on 80-90 coming across, Indiana, Ohio. That's all 80-90 toll there. So
if you take 80 across Pennsylvania, you're missing it. 76 is the turnpike.
Oh, okay.
But see, I don't get on the turnpike to go to LegionsCon because I've got 81 is right here. That's probably what you took to get to Uncle Bob's and my place last year, Curtis, when you came back from it.
This is the fun part of the show where we talk about highways.
But I also hate 81 because it is all tractor trailers, and nothing against tractor trailer drivers in general, because I know we have some friends that are drivers, but there are some that are absolutely insane.
The worst. They're just the worst. What always gets me too about New Jersey is New Jersey always year round looks like Michigan does after all the snow melts. Because you get all the snow and it's beautiful, right? And it's all white, and then it all melts, and all of the garbage and all of the trash and all the leaves and all of the detritus that's been thrown everywhere by the plows all gets uncovered. And that's what New Jersey looks like 12 months out of the year. So
yep.
Fucking jug handles.
Gotta love the jug handles. How about we pull up that giveaway, see where we're at. Give this thing away. So what's that number, man? You need to zoom that in. We can't.
I don't understand. It's 38, I think.
38. All right. Well, let me pull this up again.
It is 38. You're right. I think you're right up on it.
Yeah. What we're giving away. This is the Charbot with the special arm attachment. That is a LegionsCon exclusive.
MuskeCON
exclusive. My bad. Which is a fire axe with an extinguisher and what did you say the pokey thing was?
Based on a Halligan bar.
So you get the special arm as well as the Charbot. If you're going to MuskeCON, it would be excellent if you could pick it up there from Brian. But if you're not, he will definitely ship it. So yeah, let's see who's going to win this bad boy. We just got up to 40. So,
all right, folks, you got a couple more seconds because I'm clicking on some stuff here. Hashtag Charbot, spinning the wheel in 3, 2, 1, spin. I feel like we should. I need to get music in here.
I totally
JD Gibson.
Yeah, like a Wheel of Fortune music, or the ticking, like tick 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 tick. JD Gibson. So reach out to Brian Lynn on Facebook or Carver Customs on Instagram. If you're going to MuskeCON, you can pick it up there. Otherwise, he will ship it out. And as Pete said, they will be giving another one of those away at the Mythic Meetup at MuskeCON on March 21st. More details to come on when that's going to start. But it sounds like there's going to be pretzels, folks. So you don't want to miss out.
And it sounds like that will be the first time somebody will actually get that part in hand.
Very nice.
Because the winner tonight's going to get it after MuskeCON, but that'll be the first time somebody actually gets it in person. So
there you go. Sounds cool. Anything else that the people should know about the event, or anything else that you'd like to share?
No, thanks again for having me on, man. I look forward to seeing you guys and doing what we do. I can't believe it's a month away. That's mind blowing. I probably should get planning. Oh, don't show that. That's old.
This is the old one.
That's MuskeCON 4. Yeah, that's the website's about 4 years old, and I'm not. I built that. No, you're good. I built that website, and I can't figure out how to park it to make it like I can't. I suck.
I saw 21st and I just thought it was the right weekend.
Yep. Nope. That was 4 years ago. That's how bad I am at this.
Nice.
I told you guys. I tried to tell you. You didn't believe me. So.
Well, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I'll be in there on Wednesday. So yeah, I'll hit you up and
hold on, I'm interrupting. At the meetup, it's your chance to be the first to get the Charbot Wave 2 parts.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he said in the message. Learn how to read, Peter. So
well, that too. It I think he said he's gonna have a full new set. He was
Sorry,
showing
Schmerbs,
today in the customizing studio. It was pretty awesome. Like he's got like this rack that goes on top of it that can hold guns, like the pistols from the Cosmic Legions. It's pretty awesome looking. So you guys are in for a treat. So beautiful. Well, Peter, thanks for jumping on. We'll continue to promote this thing all the way to the end because we love MuskeCON. We love you guys.
Somebody's got to.
So we're gonna put you backstage. If you got to run, we totally get that. If not, hang out, and we will be right back with you.
All right, sounds good. I'm gonna bail out. You guys have a good one.
All right,
thanks,
have a good
Pete.
one, man. See ya later. Well, that was fun. I'm excited.
Yes, it was.
I'm excited.
Yes, MuskeCon's going to be great. I had a great time with you and everyone there last year.
Mhm.
I'm excited. We've mixed some things up at Wolf King with how we do the table presentation. So, should be a lot easier of a setup this time.
I'll be there with some capes. I don't think I'm bringing anything that I'm doing. I think it's just going to be some capes, but that's kind of what I did last year too. So, but yeah, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing you and everybody there. Folks, if you're within driving distance, make it to MuskeCON. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. It's awesome. So,
indeed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, looks like Herbert's got a table.
I saw that. Yeah.
So yeah, Schmerberburger. He's probably got a table where he's telling people how to become YouTube celebrities. So yeah, he's giving instructions on that. So, oh shoot, buy me some time because there's something else that I wanted to show real quick. So
okay. Yeah. So I saw a comment earlier from Dusty. I want to bring it up, but I can't remember how far back it was. Said something about a couple of fine looking Americans or something on screen. But yeah, I can't find it. He said 3.
Oh, gotcha.
He specifically said 3, and there were only the 3 of us on screen at the time. So
okay, let me share this.
Okay.
We have a show coming up next Saturday on the Art by Akerman channel. Jesse and I are going to play around. We're going to have some fun. So the thumbnail here, are these the best 2.0 Mythic Legions figures? And we are going to answer that question, and we're going to do some popping and swapping. We don't know. With the deluxe War of the Aether Blade, elf female, elf male, and orc female. So they're all 2.0s. There's a lot of great parts in there. We're just going to play around and have some fun and see what we can come up with. So that is next Saturday. I believe it's going to be 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm trying not to interfere with Saturday Day Live or PGG. But yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So that's next Saturday. And then Sunday, we will be back here for another episode, right?
We will. And just want to make sure we emphasize that's popping and swapping. At least I will not be popping and locking. I don't know what Curtis gets up to. I mean, next Sunday night is going to be kind of our, I know, Hedgehog and the Saturday Day Live guys started talking like their ZoloCon previews this week. Mm-hmm. But next week on Sunday night, we've got Hedgehog himself, Nate Armstrong, aka Telltale Art Customs, and Patrick Boyle joining us to just kind of get excited about ZoloCon. You know, one of these days we'll get Curtis out here somehow, some way. But yeah, it's a new venue.
If you didn't get me out there with the what was that? The movie last year that was going on.
Last Starfighter?
Last Starfighter. If you didn't get me at the last Starfighter, I don't know if you're going to get me.
That was RetroCon.
Oh,
so,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and that was too close to Legion's Con. So
yeah, it's just like I would love to make it out to Zolo, and I would love to make it out to Toylanta, but it's like all right there together with MuskeCON. It's like like if one of those was like June or July, I would probably be there. But
well, see, you got to come to some business thing in Pennsylvania, like the week of ZoloCon.
They're sending me everywhere but there. They tried to send me to Atlanta
or
next week.
Near
I gotta
enough.
go to Iowa, Chicago. Like, I think over the next 2 months, I'm traveling to like 7 different cities or something. It's ridiculous, but yeah, it would be nice if they said, "Hey, go to Jersey," I would be, or Pennsylvania. I'd be like, "Hell yeah, I'm all over it."
Maybe, I mean, which is something that you would have to come through Pennsylvania. ZoloCon weekend, and then stay a couple days, and then do whatever you got to do business wise, and then go back for MuskeCON. Like, so just stay, so it's not back and forth. It's one big long trip, and I just ride out with you to MuskeCON and catch a ride back with Brett.
Yeah, I would love to go to I found out that Toylanta is actually closer to me than MuskeCON or anything else. Like, Toylanta is actually a lot closer than I thought.
Isn't it only like an hour drive less?
Yeah, but still, it's like it's a lot. I thought it was like 14 hours. It's like 6.5. So
okay.
I would definitely do that if it wasn't the weekend after MuskeCON. Like, it just too much. But some great stuff. So yeah, ZoloCon, we're gonna do that little preview. We're gonna have, it says bring a friend or 2. We're bringing 3. We don't care. Rules are out the window. We don't care about songs or what the lyrics say. Hedgehog, Nate, and we're going to have together for the first time on screen since they have been dubbed PB&J, Patrick Boyle and Jesse on screen together. It's going to be crazy. They're going to bring sandwiches to Zolo. It's going to be nuts. Oh, no, not nuts. It's creamy.
We established on Friday night that hot dogs are not sandwiches. So whatever Patrick does with his hot dogs is his own thing. And we got that that was from the Sausage King himself. Said hot dogs are not sandwiches. George
hot dogs in a bun is not a sandwich, or hot dog by itself is not a sandwich.
Hot dog in a sandwich or a hot dog in a bun is not a sandwich.
What is it?
It's a hot dog.
Is it a taco?
No, taco is its own unique thing.
I think a hot dog is a taco.
No,
I'm pretty sure. Have you looked at the shape of it?
Yes,
I'm pretty sure. Let us know after the show's over. Hit us up in the comments. Do you think a hot dog is a sandwich, a taco, or something completely different? Let us know.
It's just a hot dog because a bun is very different from a taco shell.
I think
soft or crunchy.
I think it's a taco. I think it's a soft shell taco. No. Hot dog is a soft shell taco. You heard it here first.
Well, folks, it's been a great run on the show.
Yeah.
See, drunk Gizmo agrees with me. That's all I need.
He's probably drunk. Who knows?
I just meant one person. It's not a sub either.
Could be a sub.
What if it's a Dom hot dog?
Like, instead of a subordinate
sub? Yeah,
like it's a dominatrix hot dog.
I don't know.
Are we in Legendaddy territory here?
I mean,
is the hot dog wearing leather?
I mean, technically, it isn't it a type of leather?
I don't know. Actually. All right.
Hooves and butts.
Well, it'll be fun. We'll get together. So Saturday, join us for Popping and Swapping. Sunday, ZoloCon preview. And you folks have a great time. I do have tomorrow, I've got a video dropping on Art by Akerman with Dirk Nagel on dyeing figures. So if you've ever wanted to dye a figure, he's got a really good technique for that. And then Tuesday, I will have my Maxilius review dropping with those pictures that I showed earlier. It's that Maxilius, I'm telling you, it's more than just a skeleton. There's a lot of great parts in there. So pick those up if you haven't.
Oh, absolutely. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get Maxilius.
I heard
I'm keeping one in a package.
I heard that there's a retailer out there that when you buy from them, that you also get like free custom parts.
That is one. If you pay attention to our credits, you might see them listed as the sponsor of this show. That said, this is not a paid endorsement. A woo 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 woo.
Woo 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 woo.
I know someone sent me a link. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but someone sent me an audio clip to use, and I just have not taken the time to upload those things yet. But I will. So
I believe it was
stay tuned. That's what I said. V-Dog. It just sounded like I said someone.
All right.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great week. And until next time,
hot dogs or tacos?
What's on your shelf? No!